Foo Fighters kick off the GOP week. That's a surprise. I did not think of them as being Republicans, but nice.
They are. They actually are.
This is the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. We'll be speaking. Let me go over everything that they're doing for GOP week. Tonight is Make America Safe Again. Tomorrow is Make America Work Again. Wednesday is Make America First Again. And then Thursday night is Make America One Again. So I don't know what night we're going to jump in and speak, but we'll probably be somewhere in between Trump's kids.
I hope to be on Tuesday, work day.
Make America Work Again?
Mostly just because I want my theme song to be like, whack, 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 whack.
And just come walking out to that?
I'll just dance.
I don't know if it's going to get over with that crowd, but, well, it's Ben Carson night, so maybe he'll dance with you. Donald Trump Jr., I believe, is headlining that night. Melania Trump is, got a night, Eric Trump, and then Ivanka Trump, I believe, may be the person who introduces her father.
Wow.
That's normally a big political role, whoever gets to do that. But this is a family affair. It's Trump and family.
I think that my prediction is the best speech of the week is going to be Melania. I think it's going to be amazing.
I hope she goes into some fashion talk because she's very much a fashion
because
plate.
you want to like work in your wheelhouse a little bit.
Yeah. I wish that Donald will just say at one point when he's with her, just like, what do you think, guys? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just have everybody go crazy.
Yeah, Daddy.
I don't think the daddy thing is happening anymore. I wanted it to.
Daddy's gonna win. Daddy's gonna win. Daddy's gonna win.
He'd have my vote there. I gotta admit, Pence is a little bit of a turnoff for me.
He's a weirdo.
What is it? Is it the lifeless eyes like a doll's eyes?
Yes.
The problem?
Yes. The shark eyes bother me a little bit. The tightness of the hair. I don't know whether you saw the 60 Minutes with Pence and Trump, but I don't think Donald was comfortable with him talking at all.
No, they don't have a great rapport.
No.
They lack chemistry.
He doesn't fit into the Trump campaign. We wanted him to grab another guy who was outside freewheeling. This is kind of a letdown. Ann Coulter calls this Trump's first mistake. And she has been 100% right about everything in the Trump campaign from jump. Right? Yeah. Like when everybody else was laughing, Ann Coulter pushed in big, and she's unhappy, which now makes me unhappy.
Yeah. You hate to see her sad.
Well, I hate to have any opinions of my own. I like to grab onto somebody and have the same opinions. In this case, it's Ann Coulter. I want us just to road dog this thing all the way home.
Yeah, I remember early on, Bill Maher, I think she was on Bill Maher.
Yeah.
And she said, they were saying, okay, who's going to take this? And she said Trump. And everyone just laughed at her.
They should all have to come back.
Right-wing people were laughing at her. And she's like, what?
They should have to come back and be forced to apologize. And you were right. We were wrong. But it's going to be, a big week of people going up and saying stuff, and then the media will let you know whether they said good stuff or bad stuff. It's 24 hours a day. This is kind of nerd fucking Woodstock for people who like politics. Although they're all frightened this time. Obviously, the news yesterday, again, horrific. Again, complete madness. And that's made everything in Cleveland a little scarier.
It's insane how many stories just come out on a daily basis. Even Turkey, like that, I can't wrap my head around that.
I didn't bother.
The more I'm reading articles, and still I find it to be so hard to fathom.
I have a file I call batshit where I put any kind of Middle East politics. It used to be, we used to just say oh, it's nuts over there. Those fucking nuts. And now we're just like, oh, could that happen here? You know, everyone just acts like we're all just one big world and everything's connected. Maybe it is, but I think I prefer the old American ignorance, you know? Just like that has nothing to do with anything.
It's fine.
Yeah. That should just be in the New York Times and nowhere else.
The foreign section.
Yes. The section that I don't read.
Apparently it was all work in Turkey that the president put the coup.
I heard that, and that is as nutty as if it was just a straight coup. But I know a lot of people here at Sirius XM, a lot of the political shows are going to Cleveland, and I talk to a lot of people who are terrified about it.
Really?
They're like, I have to go, but I don't know if I want to go. I got to because it's my job, but I'm going to give you one of them. Zito was very nervous about it. Yeah.
I saw him. He's freaked out.
Well, he's got to put up a banner, and what else?
That's pretty much it.
But doesn't it feel like normally you would be able to say to people, okay, you know, you're probably fine. It's probably going to be all right. It just feels like, I don't know, dude. Well, it's crazy. Everything's crazy.
I got to tell you this, too, about Mike Pence. This is something that's going around. It's a photo, and it's very disturbing, but it's him and his family. Go to the iBang for this. And, Gail, you don't know about this yet, right?
Mm-mm.
So I want you to look at the photo and see why this is making the internet rounds everywhere. It's he and his family just having a nice little diner break, right?
Okay.
Now what I want you to do, Chris, see if you can't get it on the big TV here. So that way we can all see it. So it's just him and a nice family, right? Nothing to be alarmed about. Now look into the mirror.
Okay, I'm looking into the mirror.
Comparing it with the front shot.
Oh my God. Where's the girl?
There is a family member who has no reflection whatsoever. She has no reflection.
What is she?
She's a creature of the night, Michael.
Now, that's the problem. If she's a vampire, and that's her own business, I don't believe in outing people, but this picture has outed her. How do you not show up in the reflection?
Okay, that's really surreal. I'm trying to think logically, but the position that everyone is in, it seems like you can see exactly where she's like sitting, and where there should be a reflection of her.
Look, there's kids not in the original shot in the reflection. Everyone else is getting reflected, but the daughter.
Right. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's not a mirror. Maybe it's just another booth with someone who looks like her and her mom.
This is freaked the fuck out.
It is crazy, right?
It's really strange.
This is a bad sign for Trump, to be fucking totally honest.
See, again, first of all, I think that the children should be left out of this, whether they are vampire or not. She did not ask to run for vice president. She just happened to be caught in this picture. She doesn't have a reflection. I don't think that's any of our business.
I'm horrified.
That is I'm trying to figure it out logically. How she could be obstructed by him completely. It doesn't make any sense. There's no part of her that should be, you should be at least able to see 75% of her body in the reflection.
Even if it was only 10%.
You should see a stray hair from around his head, Pence's head, in the reflection.
She doesn't have a reflection. Now, I'm saying that if we can be gender fluid, why can't we be reflection fluid? Whose business is it?
I refuse to be reflection fluid.
Now, I have a member of the staff who is a film school graduate. He's an ace photographer. He's also seems to be training Chris Stanley quite a bit.
Very well, might I add.
I'm going to bring up something about the training before we get into this reflection thing.
Okay.
I've heard from various people, even though your time has gotten better in the 5K, it doesn't make you a better kicker. What I'd like to see is some periscopes of kicking, accuracy, and distance. Enough with you just finishing your 5Ks.
You know what? You want it? You got it, Ronnie B.
Thank you.
All right? You got it. Tomorrow.
Because I've got this, I'm talking now about this being a 30 for 30. I'm trying to pitch Judd Apatow on it. I understand he's a guy who can get some things done.
Please get Judd for my 30 for 30.
Well, the thing is, right now, you don't even have a 30. You're like a 5 for nothing. You've got to make the team and then have something exciting happen. Hopefully win a Super Bowl. But if not, the last kick loses a Super Bowl. That's a 30 for 32, my friend.
I'll take it.
You can, succeed or fail, and we can make it into a 30 for 30. But you've got to make the team. You're not trying out for 5K guy. Enough of the 5Ks.
I've got 10 days left. I'm on a supplement routine right now. I'm getting my body in shape for this kick.
Another question, real quick.
Yeah.
Why is your sweatband from 1982? That sweatband has not been sold since we found out it was flammable in the 90s.
I'm old school. I don't use this Under Armour shit.
Okay.
I'm all like, I'm a natural guy, Ron.
So when are we going to get a kicking skill?
Tomorrow morning, man. No more running, just straight kicking.
Thank you. That's all I ask. Now, back to this story on the iBang. What's the name of this, too, for people who want to see the picture?
This is picture of Mike Pence and family has internet confused.
Let me ask you this, dude. How could this happen? How could this take place?
I mean, I would like to say angles, but you can see every possible angle in the photo. There's no possible film way to explain this.
Okay. So the only explanation is she's a
creature of the night, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. You wait till her mom finds out.
Is that true?
Yeah, 100% vampire.
Okay, I got that from film school graduate, expert in photography.
That's really impressive.
Thank you.
And film buff and lover of vampire movies.
Well,
Gail Bennington.
I don't know if I would say you were a film buff. You're more of a biff than a buff.
I'll take it.
You consider yourself a film buff?
I consider myself a lover of film.
I can go all the way through it until the buffs start on the silent films. And I'm like, I just can't relate. Give me clips of silent films I love, but to sit there and watch an hour and a half of silent film, it gets a little rough on me.
It's very sleepy.
Yes, it is.
I always liked them in film school because you could fast forward through them and you don't miss anything.
I only like to watch it the way it was meant to be watched in a Nickelodeon, where I sit there with my hands and change it. Have you ever seen any of those, like the old-time ones? There was a little boardwalk that I went to that they used to have the actual ones. And this guy was still making nickels off of it or pennies or whatever, instead of thinking, oh, I have this collectible thing that needs to be saved. He was just like, the kids will do it. But that's what they all look like to me. Like you're just turning these little cards. And I don't want to just listen to somebody play fucking piano for... Who of the silent film comedians is your favorite?
Old Stoneface.
Yeah?
Yeah. Buster Keaton.
How about for you?
I was big on Chaplin.
It's always Chaplin or Keaton, isn't it? Chris?
Charlie guy. Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie guy?
You're a Charlie guy?
Charlie Chaplin.
Now, have you watched any of his films?
I've only seen clips. I've only seen clips. I've never seen a full one.
Well, if you're a real buff, you're supposed to say Keaton. And then if you're just like... hey, that guy's cute, then you like. But because of the Robert Downey Jr. film, I now feel more connected to him.
So you didn't see it. Not much of a film buff.
You didn't see that movie?
No, and
you
I love
fucking
him.
love that movie.
I know.
He's very sad through the whole thing and talks like this. Perhaps I can find a way of making the world laugh. By the way, I was talking about my hopeful partner on this 30 for 30. Sorry, Bonfiglio, but you're out.
Oh, come on.
What? He's shown me the way to do this. You hook up with Apatow, you do it. Apatow's going to be in Montreal when we're up there. He's a Generations winner.
Wow.
That's big.
Yes. You got to go up there before you'll even get it. You don't come here, you're not going to be the Generations winner.
You can't just have it mailed to you?
I like to walk out and go like this, Judd Apatow couldn't be here tonight. But I'm sure if he was, there's some people he'd like to thank. To Paul Feig for Feeks and Geeks.
I know he'd like to thank me. For sure.
Gary Shandling was a rock for him. Really taught him the ropes. Ben Stiller. I don't know if you're here, Ben. Everyone would be booing in French. I guess whistling. We're going to be eating some French food, too.
I know. Can't wait. Love French food.
You know what? Tell Don it's going to be exciting to take everybody out.
Gotcha. I'll let him know. I'll let him know the excitement.
He's hosting some very fun parties.
Don, in case
Every
you
night,
didn't know,
by the way.
Yeah.
everyone's coming.
And maybe some fun brunches, too.
Brunch and dinner on Don. I'm going to write that down in my book.
Circle it.
Oh, yeah, your little book.
I
You
know.
keep a
Everyone
book-
was really proud of your notebook.
This is what annoys me, though. Instead of having a normal notebook, he has a notebook like a cub reporter.
Yep.
If I can just get some quick questions here. What is the purpose of the tiny notebook? So you can put it in your back pocket?
Yeah, pocket size, back pocket, so I can always have it on me. Because I don't like carrying shit in my hands.
Do you transfer it?
No, I just keep everything in the book.
What? Then that's stupid. No one can get real notes from a tiny little book. And you don't have to keep your stuff in your hands. You should have a mail bag that you travel everywhere with.
I don't know if I like the mailbag.
Not a messenger bag, a real U.S. mail bag.
That's cool. And you can fit a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And deliver stuff and make a little extra money for yourself.
Maybe you could even get one of those little hand cards.
A lot of notebooks.
What does Jeffrey travel around with when he's jumping around?
He has a little notebook too. I've seen him taking notes like outside comedy clubs.
I did too. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, I have.
It's the funniest shit. I did not even know that he did that.
I think he has a moleskin.
I just thought of something. That's where you got the idea.
I'm a disciple of Jeffrey Gurian. Note taking prowess. Because the guy loves to take notes. He's always jumping around. He's always talking to people.
Then why don't you have a hot black chick with you wherever you go? And if not, a hot Asian chick.
That's next.
That's why everybody thinks that he buys prostitutes, which is racism.
That is racist. That is racist.
Why wouldn't it just be a hot black girl in a very short skirt who like to go out to some clubs and meet some famous comedians?
Yeah, it's not that
That's what
far-fetched.
he sells, you know? You're going to jump around with me. Here's, let me go to our buddy Nick. Nick, what's up, pal?
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
I want to see if you guys caught Big Brother over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's all falling apart. Well, first of all, you're talking, these two fucking ham and eggers watch around the clock. You do some, Gail?
I do once in a while. It's usually if I'm free and in that moment, Chris or Vito was saying, oh my God, you guys have to turn it on right now.
Yeah.
But usually I'll just read their text and it's like I'm getting a little ticker tape.
Well, that's like your own
This is
Joker's update.
This is the first season I watched, really only because you guys talk about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tiffany has to be like top 5 crazy people on the show all the time, right? I mean, you guys would know you watch it, but I
There's
was
normally
dying laughing at her overreaction.
Yeah. Normally there's one person a year who has trouble with the
whole thing,
claustrophobic nature of what's going on. And that's what the rest of us at home, why we think we'd play a better game. You forget that they're in a submarine for an entire year.
Exactly. You're in a tiny space with a bunch of strangers. You're cut off from contact, not only your family, but just news and the rest of the world.
To me, what was funny, as soon as she talked to one person, she became a dick. Like, I'll fucking get all of you. I'm in with Frank. Just chill the fuck out.
Yeah. And like she'll flip and there's nothing about her that's like, I'm going to hold this information, see where it goes.
Nope.
She immediately goes crazy. Her reactions from like when she would go from sobbing until like, that's what's going to happen.
Right,
and it was like, it's like the Overlook Hotel in there right now.
It's crazy pussy time when that happens.
Yes.
When someone goes from crying, Jags, to laughing and saying, you're trying to make me crazy. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh God, how do I get out of this relationship as quickly as possible? But I've never seen the amount of overplaying that happens this year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all they're doing.
Let me just say this. I'll compare it to football. Never in a time of football should you tackle anyone in your own huddle. You know what I mean? Just calm it down.
They all talk game to each other from, I'd say, around 4 p.m. to 3 in the morning every single day. That's why, as of right now, Davon is out as of like Monday morning. But Thursday, everything can fucking change by then.
What? Day's been put up?
I believe Day's been put up from what I can gather.
Then why don't you yell spoiler alert,
Spoiler
dude?
alert.
Yeah,
Because she's
dude.
not up as of now.
Oh my
Ugh.
God.
Well, I'd vote Day out quickly. I'd vote Frank out. I'd
Yeah.
vote
Don't vote Frank out.
Paulie out.
Paulie, yes.
You've got to vote out who's playing the game the hardest.
Yeah, who's playing like a maniac. But in the meantime, you also have to look out for who's, is it Michelle with the glasses
Yeah,
who does
Michelle.
nothing? She's going to be there at the end of the game. And that's going to be unfair to everybody who's overplayed. You know what I mean? But it is also the game.
And along the way, she'll have made very little enemies because she has been playing so quietly.
But also people be like, hey, wait a minute, I thought she was nice, but she used me as a shield. So sometimes they do make enemies.
Yeah.
They're the ones who've gone, you sat in this house and have done nothing for fucking 18 months. Why should we give you the money? Those things always make me laugh. You're a piece of garbage who just floated all the way here. Like garbage floats or shit floats in a turlet.
Man, when Day grabbed Tiffany and she's like, okay, like, just cry it out. And she grabbed her and was like, I was thinking to myself, I would never physically embrace someone that crazy.
Yeah.
Like, because I thought at any moment she could just start, like, beating the shit out of Day. She could have just, like, started flailing and going crazy because she was that level on the edge.
You're right. And scratching you with her nails and screaming, I'm going to tell everybody all the disgusting things that you do to me.
Day raped me! Day raped me in the diary room!
It wasn't rape. It was a rape game that she wanted to play.
You think you can mess with my head, Day?
Hey, Tom, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Bennington. Hi.
Yeah.
Two quick things. First, I hate Tiffany so much. I hated her sister, and I was so glad when she was gone. And then it was
I hate them both too.
Yeah. Now we got a clone of her sister, so I hate that.
Yeah.
But in memory of our dear departed Bronte, could Gail give us one last impression?
Well, it's not over for me. I'm hoping to battle back. I will get back into the house. So don't forget, I am a math genius. I will find a way, okay?
Who are you rooting for to get back in?
Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
I want Boogie
Why? Why?
Because it's so ridiculous.
He was in the house for 8 hours.
He's still like the number 4th most liked player on like that Joker's Update bullshit where they have like.
Who's the most liked player?
Let me check because it changes every day.
I think it's James.
James.
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
James is
steady-
always liked by people.
James is very liked.
Well, this is why James doesn't take the game personally. And I'll say this, even Frank doesn't take the game personally. He doesn't go around like thinking that a lie is anything more than a bluff. He gets that they're playing a game.
Yeah, that's why I like
and Day is one of them who doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I loved when they all sat around last night and go, we fucked up last week. We should have just not tried. Yes, that's right. When you have an easy week, take it every week. Take it.
You have a whole summer ahead of you.
Yes. Where it gets really weird.
James is first, Natalie second, Glenn fifth, even though he hasn't been in the show for 32 days.
Wait, which one's Natalie?
Blonde.
No, Natalie's the one with the, who's like James's showmance.
The cheerleader.
The cheerleader.
Oh, why is she so well liked?
Because she's attached to James. That's why.
But she's like a dope.
Yeah, she's the worst.
Well, who's the blonde with the little glasses?
Nicole.
So when Tiffany was freaking out and saying why does everybody leave when I come into the room? She just goes like this. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
It was so fucking funny.
I'm really nervous. She's got like that really...
It's great.
And then why was she dressed as a 3-year-old the other night?
That was creepy.
like her little
dress.
her little baby color.
Yeah, that had zero fucking indentation anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It just hung down like she was going to sing Good Ship Lollipop in 2 minutes.
It had kittens all over it. That was the fucking print on the dress.
I guess that's Corey's thing, you know? But as long as it's 2 adults playing it out, who cares?
Apparently, Corey was, they got intimate in the have not room.
How intimate?
Like fingering, to be blunt.
God, that is very blunt.
In the bumper cars.
Sometimes I wonder how long you would last on terrestrial. I give it 15 minutes.
I'm out.
I was watching Vice Principals last night, and I was thinking how much Chris reminds me of the lead actor in that.
Oh, Kenny Powers?
Yeah.
Dan McBride, his real name.
Just that kind of flip out that you do all the time.
I missed it. I have to watch it tonight.
The first episode is so good. And it's like you have Kenny Powers back, but he's different. Now he's a vice principal.
Perfect.
Well, for everybody who was disappointed that Chris Stanley did not make Ghostbusters, based on your, what was your line, Chris?
Go Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got cut.
Also, another person who got cut that I didn't even think of until recently, Chris Gethard, who I didn't see when I was up there, but I saw a clip of him that was amazing, and the whole place, the whole cast and crew applauded the Gethard scene when they showed it.
Yeah.
Damn it, you're right.
But Feig did tell me that they shot like his first cut was 5 hours.
Oh my God.
Which would have been too long for a Ghostbusters. But
too much Ghostbusting.
You'll love this over on the iBang. A Connecticut news station put up as part of their story about the Ghostbusters, and one of our listeners had photoshopped Chris Stanley into the Ghostbusters and put his name there as the first person.
Stop billing.
Yeah, and it showed up.
Oh my!
Who's the person
God.
who did this? They should get little accolades for being the guy who put it out.
Joe Reed. Joe Reed is the person.
Congratulations, Joe Reed. That was the best thing I've ever seen. And then there's like a little clip of him on TV, and you can see how goddamn photoshopped it is.
How could they not pick up on that?
It's just my head in a construction hat holds a 2x4 just to the left of Leslie Jones. It's amazing.
And it says Chris Stanley, Leslie Jones, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. That's hilarious.
God, it makes me so happy. It ended up on a morning show, Better Connecticut.
Or you better check out where you're getting your information from. There's a million pictures of the Ghostbusters without Chris Stanley.
The majority of Ghostbusters pictures do not involve Chris Stanley. How did you find the one that does?
Now, I don't know how this one shaved ape showed up, but apparently Chris Stanley is the fifth Ghostbuster.
Thank you. Go Ghostbusters.
I mean, at most you would have been a day player. You don't get your face on the poster.
God, this is so enjoyable that this happened.
All right, let's try to figure out what is the best picture today. Chris Stanley on Ghostbusters, or the fact that a vampire is part of the Pence family?
I mean, I'm biased. I'm saying Chris is a Ghostbuster.
It's nice that you at least point out that you're biased.
Is it because it involves you?
For me being part of it?
That was the funniest thing that happened all weekend for me.
I couldn't believe it.
Just so goddamn happy.
That's incredible.
Overjoyed. I have no neck also as a construction worker in this movie.
Or a person in life.
Yeah, why don't you just stop it at neck? That was a period, end of paragraph. Now, I have a film expert here. He's a graduate of film school. Vito, how did he end up in this picture? How was that done?
Well, probably with the Adobe Photoshop program and just some real hard work from that research team at that news department.
Good work, Barry, Connecticut. Spectacular.
And better work, Joe Reed, who I'm now going to refer to as Reedy. Because that's what we call all the Reeds in my neighborhood. Reedy's
killing it.
Reedy.
Reedy's the best.
Where's Reedy at? You would just ask Reedy where his brother Reedy was.
Which Reedy?
Doesn't matter. And then that older brother started getting called Willis after Willis Reed, the New York Knick.
Now, was Reedy friends with Twinny?
No, the 20s were like nerd kids. You didn't see them much. And I refused to see them together. It was too weird. 20. Where's 20 at? You're freaking me out all by yourself. But even if I was a little kid, I would think, because they were identical. They both wore glasses. Both had the same fucking unhip short haircut that their mom still took them to get, you know? Like, that's how fucking geeked out they were. But even as a little kid, I would think to myself, oh, I wonder what that twin would feel like if the other twin died. And I never ever thought, like in my neighborhood, I wonder how bad they'd feel if their sister died or anything. Right. You know, it would be tragedy no matter how you looked at it.
Just the twins. That's what really matters.
But the twins themselves, they were just, we don't point out the twins are freaks.
They are. There's a mutation, correct?
It's the reason why I will always be pro-choice. No family should have to go through that. They shouldn't have to look at identical people.
The horror.
A clone. Literally a clone. And I think I even like twins that don't look the same even worse. That grosses me out.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I like those.
Ugh.
That seems even more unnatural.
Thank you.
Because you're a twin, meaning that you look alike. So then they're not twins.
You know, but here's the thing, though. They're able to pass as real people.
Yeah.
That's what fucking annoys me. We don't know. They probably have twin speak going on.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, there's a brother and a sister.
Should round them up.
Yeah, but that fucking shared a what? Fucking sack together?
Yeah, some sack filled with fluid.
Or I think they're in two. They might be. Are they in the same sack?
I don't know.
If you're not identical?
Anytime that they start to explain biology in school, I would just throw up.
I know that.
My report was called Nature is Gross. And I just clipped in little pictures of bugs, diseases.
I think that the identical is like a mutation where the exact egg like doubles. The already fertilized egg doubles somehow. And then the other one is like two eggs are released. Two separate eggs, and then they're both fertilized.
All right, you ready for the freakish?
Yeah.
And this has happened. Two eggs, right? Fertilized by two different fathers.
Can happen.
So basically, you're fucking sharing, which I'm now going to call a sack, with a half sibling. Not even a full sibling.
No.
And we know half siblings never get along.
They hate each other. And they're in the fucking sack together?
Nature, stop it. Just
Nature,
stop it.
You're creeping us out.
The two things I hate are nature and technology, and I can't escape either one of them.
The middle ground.
No.
What is in between?
But yeah, you got to be very careful in a gangbang, or you and your buddy might end up with fucking half children.
Noted.
Eskimo fathers, I think they call that.
What do you think of twins where like they're identical when they're born and then one gets fat and the other one like changes their
I've never
whole
even
style?
heard of that. Tell you the truth. Has that happened?
I feel like I've seen it before.
I think that you're lying just to make a goddamn funny point. If you had that, I'd be fascinated to see that one is thin and has a full head of hair and the other one is bald and heavy. That would be fucking amazing. You know what I think you're trying to do, Vito? Again? Is fat shame.
Unbelievable. That's all he ever does.
Now, there's a gigantic fat shaming story. It's actually one of the biggest of all time in fat shaming. This, I believe she was a playmate named Danny Mathers, and she does some radio. She's part of a show or a reoccurring guest out west in L.A. But she goes into the locker room of her gym. There's a middle-aged, heavy-set woman, and she takes a picture of her showering next to herself, putting her hand over her mouth, laughing, and says, "If I can't unsee this, then you can't ever." Puts it on her Instagram.
Ugh.
Now, people following your Instagram are normally your fans or friends or family. You don't have people following someone's Instagram who don't like them, right? It just doesn't happen that way. But I guess because she's a playmate, there's also just some lurkers, some creeps enjoying themselves watching her Instagram legally. I'll point that out. This is what happens when you have an Instagram. They hated her so fast that she deleted the picture, I think, while she was still at the gym. She realized, holy shit, not everyone finds this as funny as I do. Somebody had grabbed the picture, screen capped, I believe is the technical term, but I hate technology, and they sent it out to news organizations. And this is this week's worst person of the week if Keith was still doing a show. She's the hate she's now getting off the internet. Now,
how incredibly shitty, like even fat shaming, body shaming aside, to take a picture of a naked person.
This is the Erin Andrews case. This is Erin Andrews, who was able to sue for tons of money, right? This club is probably going to be looking at a lawsuit for not having a chance for people to be naked in privacy. Up to this point, the only clubs where you get your own shower are the expensive clubs.
Yeah.
When you're in a country club, you're like, oh, we're not all showering together. But everywhere else, from fucking junior high school on, it's just a big open shower. But now when you see this, you wonder why this hasn't even happened more. Or maybe it does happen. Maybe there's some fucking underground thing of creep shots.
Or people doing it who aren't celebrities, and then you would just be like, oh, what? Like, that was a shitty thing to do, and people wouldn't think to report that or be outraged.
You would think that we would have heard about it before, though, right? That we would have heard, oh, there's this case that somebody was, shot at the gym. Everyone has cameras at all times now. This has occasionally happened by mistake with sports stars. And the thing about that always kills me. Sometimes you'll be watching the 6 o'clock news and some guy's dick will just come swinging by, in the background. And everyone's like, well, he knows her. First of all, that's the fucking locker room. I don't understand why you're interviewing someone in the locker room.
It's a very weird place to do that.
And we've done it forever.
Can we get a designated spot outside of the locker room for when people want to do press, maybe?
Baseball, football, basketball, they have to put up with this. You never see it in tennis or golf. You never see. We're sitting here with a guy with a towel around his shoulders asking him why he missed a putt. But for some reason, and it can't be anything more than tradition. Now, you notice, too, that they'll make the guys go out and do interviews at a table somewhere.
Yeah, when they're dressed, when they're like, yeah.
But why isn't that the only way? Why can't a person go shower and change and come out? I think in the old days there was some kind of, we go to print at 3:30, I need this now. That's kind of understandable. But now all you have to do is, upload. And normally the story's out before it even makes the newspaper. I mean, most of the time, if you want to be the last person to get the New York Post news, buy the New York Post. Because they'll just put up things the night before.
Yeah, it's all on the app.
The other thing about this chick is, this woman is middle-aged. She's older. Girl, you're not going to look like that forever. Like, you're sitting there and you're mocking this woman. You're young. Like, you're not going to be fit and young forever.
Right. I've known playmates from the 80s, the 90s, and they look closer to the woman taking the shower than they do this 22, 23-year-old.
Look, look at pinup girls from the 50s and 60s. You fucking age. It doesn't matter if, just like, when some guy is really fit in high school and he's, captain of the football team, and then you see him years later and he's out of shape and he's old. It's just like, yeah, it fucking happens. And it happens to playmates.
Yeah.
You have a very short, and it's not like you're Jennifer Aniston either. This is a very short-lived career you have.
No, you're right. You're
not going to be rich forever.
Well, you're not even rich when you're a playmate. You're kind of well paid for a little while. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You get gigs that you would. It's like when you come off a reality show, people want to, pay to go see you at a bar, but that doesn't last more than like a season or so. But I guess this kind of stuff happens all the time. We just don't know the people putting it out there. This girl had a little bit of fame, and it came back to bite her in the ass. But I bet the club is flipping the fuck out.
Oh, of course. And, I wonder if that person was identified, if she knows that this happened at this point. I mean, it just sucks. It's like she's a human person. She's clearly she looks like somebody's mom. It's just so shitty. She's just a really shitty person.
Right. I mean, she's not freakish. You know what I mean? It's not like you ran into someone who weighed 1,700 pounds and it would end up making the paper. She is a person with a middle-aged body. But the club has got to be freaking out, especially after what happened with Aaron Andrews. And this is the whole weirdness of social media. But then you also wonder how many people are on sites that they don't even know it, because of an ex-boyfriend or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go over here to Kyle. Hey, Kyle, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Ron? How are you, boss?
I'm hanging in.
Cool, man. Hey, I was wondering if you've been watching Roadies and all. I wanted to get your thoughts.
I only caught the first episode and haven't picked back up on it. The first episode, loved Ron White. The rest of it wasn't working for me, which kept me from seeing a second time. But I'll definitely go back and catch up.
Cool, man. There's some good stuff in there, worth checking out. But yeah, man, I could totally see what you're saying. Ron White is definitely the highlight. I wish that they put him more in it.
Yeah, I agree. He's the guy that feels genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know that. I've met dudes like that on the road and stuff, man. That dude totally exists.
Oh, yeah. I've met those kind of guys from, being in radio and being backstage, that dude that's just wearing a fucking crazy cowboy hat, who's in charge of everything, who's fucking drinking straight out of the bottle while they're running this big show, who's ready to fucking throw hands at 50 years old. That guy's out there. Yeah.
He totally exists. He's toured with every major band at the height of their career.
And partied with them and shared chicks with them. Yeah,
he's running the show but does nothing.
Yes, because of pure charisma and experience. All right, thanks, dude. You guys were telling me there's a new show on I got to get to, which, my Sunday nights are hectic right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
It came out on Friday on Netflix. It's called Stranger Things. And I didn't know it was coming out. I didn't know anything about it. Then I discovered it on Sunday afternoon, and I watched the entire series, all 8-hour episodes through last night. And it's fucking great.
I watched.
You watched 8 hours of TV last night?
Through yesterday afternoon into the evening till 2 a.m.
Jesus.
I
don't even think that's good for you.
I don't know. It's not. I know it isn't.
How do your eyes feel?
He hurt.
Yeah, I watched the first episode, and it was so good. I'm so excited. It's very Spielberg-y. It's very kind of Stephen King vibes.
Is it BFG Spielberg-y or
no.
Young
80s.
Steve?
80s
Yes.
Young Steve.
Young
82
Steve.
or 89? I mean, that's a big difference for me.
82.
Yeah, and I heard a little bit about it. A couple people had tweeted to me saying this is right up your alley. I think Liz Sets Fire sent it to me. You need to watch this immediately. I know you'll like this.
Oh, thanks for leaving me out, Liz.
I knew nothing about it and I just turned it on. I was like, what the this is fucking great.
I think one of the main reasons it was sent to me is there is, in the first episode, a makeout scene that happens to Toto's Africa that everyone's really excited about for me.
Well, no, it's already spoiled for me.
No. There's plenty more.
Oh, okay.
There's plenty more.
All right, good.
There's much more than just Toto.
One mild makeout
I thought that's
scene.
what the whole thing was about.
No.
8 hours of just making out to Toto's
I
Africa.
wish. That too would be a good program.
This is the Bennington show. I'm trying to catch up on TV at all times. I'm watching this other HBO show that I wouldn't even allow myself to watch last night because I was tired and it's tense. I can't even think of the name of it. I think Bad Stuff Happens Uptown is the name of it.
It's called The Night Of.
Are you sure? Because Bad Stuff Happens Uptown is a much better title.
I agree. The Night Of is a little vague, but yeah, I've watched the first 2 episodes. I think it was a good idea if you were not in the right frame of mind to watch it last
I don't know
night.
if you could ever be in the right frame of mind.
It's very tense. It's disturbing.
I don't like being caught up with the law.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had a car impounded over the weekend, so I was over there. Hated that. As if it was lockup.
That's the worst. Dealing with the that crew.
It takes forever. You talk about being stuck in the system. And who knows that there's just, in Manhattan, this giant fucking warehouse of stolen cars. Like, you can't even imagine. It's like...
it's downtown?
No, man, it's right over on the west side, like in 38. Just this maybe even higher, near the, like, Intrepid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this huge fucking warehouse. I mean, To get your car, someone drives you there in a golf cart.
Jesus.
That's how big this thing is. You can't be trusted to walk through there. Insanity. Fucking Dave's Insanity sauce.
It is Dave's Insanity sauce.
And everybody that was there had their car taken from the same place, right? Like 12 cars were just lifted over there at $185 a piece. Like a whole block of people walked out and went, car's gone.
all of our cars.
All the cars that were here. Talk about fucking Spielberg. And you're just filling out paperwork to take to another place to get that paperwork kind of validated. And then they give you more paperwork that you take to another place to have it validated. And you're just like, how long does this go on for?
Forever.
And that's even without killing a fucking chick uptown.
I know.
I wonder who killed that chick, though.
I have a couple theories.
I have zero.
I think it was the kid.
It could be.
It could be.
There's no doubt that
that's one of my many theories.
Yeah.
He did it.
Hey, Sean, Ottawa, Sean.
Salut, gang.
Hey, buddy.
I had an idea for Chris Stanley. I'd love to see him make the NFL, but I think it would help if he went to training camp as a celebrity in his own right. So if he started doing like YouTube videos and try and go viral.
You ought to, dude. You ought to try to go viral and be one of those YouTube kids.
Have you ever considered going viral, Chris?
Sounds pretty good to me. Because
but you need a gimmick. You need a gimmick. So if you're in the backyard kicking field goals, if you start kicking things like paint cans and human heads, people will start watching.
I don't know how to get my hands in a human heads.
But he's saying any kind of head. Could be a dog's head or whatever.
Yeah.
Any head.
But here's the other thing you could do. Start kicking even stuff into buckets, things that aren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Kick like a 50-yard kick, but it gets caught. Somebody's has a crabbing net. Get hold of Johnny. I know he's
he definitely has
He's
one.
standing there with a crabbing net, and it's just going right into it.
Fantastic.
And then we'll all be behind you like, yeah, boy. We'll go fucking batshit.
All right, get up
Be
on
running
Roll
around,
Star.
"Did you see that kick? Motherfucking kick that shit.
That bitch is crabbing.
He crabbing for football." I'll be wearing long baggy shorts. It'll be fucking great.
That's my look. Hopefully the Giants have some long baggy shorts for me to wear out as I go kicking.
Let's not worry about that, Chris. Let's worry about making the team, okay?
All right.
Later we'll talk fashion.
Okay, good.
First, we make the team.
10 days. I have 10 days.
I wish you had more time.
10 days doesn't
I like
sound...
the deadline. It makes me feel juiced.
I would be still concerned if you had 10 months. 10 days is very...
That hurts me, Gail. That's
What?
nothing.
Here's what because Chris, you look like you're going to come out and wave at an old timers thing. You don't look like you're ready to make the team. It looks like you're going to walk out next to John Riggins and hey everybody, remember the Hogs?
No.
I don't think you're ready for
I'm
this.
spry enough for this. I know I am. I've been running my ass off. This weekend was a couple of cheat days. Didn't train over the weekend.
I think
That's a problem.
I can't go every day. I'm going to burn myself out. I want to be fresh for the 28th. I need a cheat day here and there.
I support you.
Good.
But I don't think this is going to work out for you. And
let
I
me
think
tell
this
you
is a huge
something else.
mistake,
I don't need
and
to
you're
hear
going to
that. You're
fail.
gonna fuck with my head now.
I'm going to say this. You don't need a cheat day when you have had a cheat life. And that's the problem there. Like if you were an Olympian, and I might say, take a cheat day for yourself. But you don't need a cheat day.
I need it over the weekend, okay? Ate a couple of sandwiches. They were delicious.
Homemade, or did you go out and get them?
I went to South Chris and Charlie's, the Sandwich King of Astoria.
South Chris and Charlie's.
South Chris and Charlie's.
Now, I know a better place.
Do you?
Greg Stone turned me on to it.
Yeah.
Greg Stone's know what he's
I
talking
hear that
about.
South Chris and Charlie's is really bad.
No, it's really good. It's the best.
I heard from them.
They said it was garbage.
They're garbage.
I wanted to do, I forgot all about this. I wanted to do a taste test, a blind taste test, where you guys will just have little pieces of the sandwich. Then we'll decide.
I love this idea.
Who's right and who's wrong.
It's good to hear you confident about it.
Oh, God. I'm as confident about this as I am about getting out of the Giants.
Who was in with Greg Stone that day?
Andy Fiore.
Here's the thing. Everybody always pays attention to Andy Fiore unless Greg Stone's there. And Greg Stone's very bombastic.
Very much so. But he's also a liar. because he thinks this other sandwich spot's better than mine.
Thinks or knows?
Thinks.
I don't think he's lying. I think he believes it just as much as you believe it. I don't think that he is trying to...
Would you guys stay quiet during a blind taste test?
I guess I'd have to.
Yeah, I would. You would have to probably be in the other room because I wouldn't trust you to not try to cheat.
I'm not going to cheat because the sandwich speaks for itself.
That's scary.
Don't be scared.
I'm not eating a sandwich that's speaking. I won't. Wait, why is Clinton at the GOP convention? This is highly unusual. And what futuristic fucking thing is she standing in front of?
Somebody should have told her the screen behind her was going to be all blue, because now she just looks like a weird floating head.
But also, look at this thing. It looks like she's with the United Planets of the galaxy.
Oh my God.
Everything about this looks like the future.
I feel like Pence's daughter got to her. And then she's half vampire. That's why we can't see half of her body.
Are we counting down to when the convention starts? We got 5 minutes?
I think it does start.
Yeah, 5 minutes. She's getting her last word in.
Wow. Smart.
She's saying, don't listen to them.
So she doesn't campaign during their convention? Is that the thing?
I think that's the rule.
Now, there isn't a rule. This is the thing. Now, here's an unwritten rule. It's not into law anywhere, and it's been followed since at least Eisenhower. That who's ever holding the White House, right, is considered the home team, and the other party has their convention first, and then the White House's party, who's ever that current president, gets to go second.
Really?
And that's a gentleman's agreement. It's not a rule.
Maybe not even a gentleman's agreement. No one has ever heard anyone talk about it, but it's happened that way since the Eisenhower years.
But they must get together and look at their schedules.
Yes, everyone assumes, but no one says, since you have Obama, we'll go first. Because I think it's better to be second, because immediately, everybody gets a bounce from their convention. You get 4 or 5, sometimes even 7 points of just a quick spike up. And that kind of means, this thing has started. But you want to be the second guy to get a spike, not the first guy to get a spike. You want to come off of that.
And you want the ability to say, and that other stuff you heard was crap, and here's why. Now, here's something that people are debating about. When Trump comes out and gives his speech Thursday night, right? That's Thursday. Mm-hmm. Will he go off script and speak stream of consciousness as he has done so many times, or will now you see him with a proper speech written by some speech writers, delivering it with a teleprompter?
We've already seen the fact that he picked Pence means that he's done, having fun. Not that he won't, but that's him compromising. And that's this Trump that we don't like, the compromising Trump. That's every other guy we've ever had now, but without experience. Right. It's suddenly not only that, but it looks scary. It looks like he's just going to do what the other people did, but he doesn't know how to. Mm-hmm. The exciting thing about Donald Trump, and the thing that I always wanted him to do, is get there and then explain to us how that the whole system was broken, and how difficult it is to pass rules, and why promises can't happen is because the system is a bad one.
So you think it would be better for him, but he won't do it. It would be better if he went with the kind of brand he's been going on, which is just, look, I don't care how other people do it. This is how I talk.
Yes, that was the exciting thing about Donald Trump. And it would have been exciting no matter who did it. Any outsider doing that is thrilling. But to see him go, I'm going to do this to unite the party. And this is why Ed Coulter is like, look, you blew up the party. Start something new. Be the new face of it. Don't go back to this guy who's just ran the same gimmick as everybody else has done it. So that was like a little depressing. And I do think what you're saying, I think we all wanted this to be a really fun convention. The only thing fun about it is the lack of traditional people who say they won't show up. That's kind of fun. The gavel is about to drop to start the convention now. In Cleveland, home of the Rock and Roll Museum. Here's Hard Rock Johnny. Johnny, what is happening right now in Cleveland? What do you see?
I see a convention. It's going to just really going to be very conventional, and Donald Trump's going to be a little crazy. There's not going to be very many speakers that because a lot of people just said I ain't going. And I think tonight will be interesting. Actually, they have this crazy sheriff who's going to be speaking about security tonight. I listened to him last night with Don Lemon. Don Lemon actually cut him off and said, "Let's just go to commercial because you're not going to let me talk."
Well, Don, you had somebody else on your show. To me, Don Lemon is everything that's wrong with fucking news.
It was very, very tense. And the guy's just screaming about how Black Lives Matter isn't really anything it's all made up, and that it's just causing cops to get killed. And so I'm curious to see how he does as a keynote speaker at the convention today. Should be interesting.
Again, he'll be on an approved thing. It's not going to be as fun as we want it to be, We want it to be fantastic.
Yeah.
We're not getting Bobby Knight. We're not getting Mike Ditka. Tim Tebow said, "I don't know how this happened. My name no one ever contacted us. They just started floating Tim Tebow's name, who, by the way, is not a great public speaker. That wouldn't have been good."
He is a winner, though. Sort of.
Where?
College?
A lot of people went in school.
Crazy Peter Thiel's going to be up there, though, the guy who took down Gawker, or tried to.
I don't know too much about him at all. I thought he was kind of secretive.
What is his company?
He has something called Y Combinator that starts up other startups, and he made all his money, I believe, he was an early investor in Facebook. And so he made a bunch of billions of dollars off that.
So he was the guy who set up Facebook that supposedly got the other guy cut out?
Yeah, he was a big investor. He also, I think, started Reddit. It was one of the first investors in Reddit, too. Like, this guy's all over the place. He's been around for a while.
So he's a startup guy?
Yeah.
He startups other startups.
Exactly.
He starts up people who want to start up. Startups.
And his favorite song is Start Me Up.
Well, first of all, it's everyone's favorite song, and I hope they do it just a couple minutes. Stop me up and stop me up and stop me up. Oh,
they're just playing that on a loop for the convention.
What? What are you doing, dude? You wrote some fucking great songs before. Johnny, there had to be a reason that you were calling us today.
I was calling earlier about the poor fat shaming girl. The poor girl who was fat shamed. Because it is, I tell you, as a former really fat guy, it's never easy to go to the gym because you think everyone's looking at you. But if I see someone at the gym who's heavier, I give them all the credit in the world because they're at least trying to make a change or do something. And for this twat to fucking take a picture of her and post it on the internet.
I kind of like her.
Now you're twat shaming. But Johnny, I saw you fat head shame the other day, and I didn't think it was right.
Yeah, well, that was personal and private. That's okay.
He put a guy with a big Easter Island head and shipped it out.
I can't. Actually, I guess I put that on Twitter too, but that's all right.
Earl's head looked enormous in this picture.
So fucking huge.
Not even just wide, but long.
Yeah. Like the jaw looked even bigger than the jaw looked gigantic on this dude's head.
He got really mad at me that day too because someone asked me something. I'm like, "Have you ever met Earl's father, Big Earl? He drives a Cadillac." And he's like, "It was a Lincoln Town Car, Johnny." He got very upset.
My favorite thing about Earl's dad is that every night he just goes out, sits in his car, and listens to the Yankees game, where he has a nice cold beer for himself and some cigarettes.
Some Big Earl time.
It's such an old school thing to do. I just love it. Just sit in the car and listen to the game. Game's on TV if you go inside.
No.
But that's where your wife and kids are also. That was the original man cave. I'm going to sit outside, listen to the ball game, wondering what went wrong with my life. Try to put together every bad choice that got me here.
Just staring into space.
Earl also doesn't appreciate when I call him Bajibi at work.
Earl's been there a long time with you now.
He has, much longer than I had anticipated or hoped for.
That's what happens when you help Earl. It never stops. But
this is true. I haven't, and we have our good friend Ben to blame for that, but that's all right. We love Earl.
Well, there's a station here that would be perfect for Earl, and I'd love to get him in. But there's a dossier of how wacky he was here.
He's banned.
Yeah, they don't forget it.
He's not even allowed in the building, right?
He's allowed in the building, but when he left, they basically said, "We hope you get some mental help." You know?
Yeah.
It's not the first person who said that to Earl.
No. But he's happy in his own world, you know?
Seems it.
I know he does a weekly podcast. Did you even know about that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do. I watch it all the time. It's great.
Fucking hilarious. And then I'll call his private phone and just try to be, and always do this. Am I on the air?
Him and Lily just sitting there. Usually there's about 3 people watching it. I'm usually one of them.
All right, hold on. Somebody wrote this to us about the vampire daughter. Let's go back to that picture. And they said, "Are you guys nuts? She was photoshopped in. There's not even a plate in front of her."
Wait.
But why would someone Photoshop in that? And if that's Photoshopped, it's amazing Photoshop, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Because her shadow's on pens.
Yeah, it's on pants, the table shadows on her leg. What is missing is her reflection in the mirror.
I can't imagine that to be her photoshopped in. What would be the purpose of that?
Let everyone know Pence is a family man.
I don't know if that's so much. Well, yeah, his shadow's on her. Her shadow's on the booth. I don't think it's photoshopped. I think she is a creature of the night.
There's something weird there.
That's gnarly. This Pence thing's really creeping me out.
Yeah, that and the negative space where the eyes should be.
Why didn't you just take Christy? Who would have avoided all this?
Friendly.
They say that Christie is furious that he didn't get picked.
He should be.
He's not even speaking at the fucking convention.
Yeah.
After everything that he did for Trump.
And he took so many shots for him, you know? People were giving him such a hard time for standing in the background like a weirdo.
Also, the one day they caught him going to McDonald's, coming back with bags. He said it was for everybody.
They were saying he's his bitch.
But somebody also said that was just his lunch.
That's a lot of McDonald's bags, though.
Don't fat shame.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. I'll tell you the
fat
weird.
Shame that jerk off.
Here's the weird shaming thing, and I know it's when you catch somebody doing something wrong in today's culture, you're supposed to be angry about it. But this is so wrong that I found myself laughing hysterically. Now, I don't know who this woman is. Let me get the name of the story. But she seems like she's a housewife. One of those famous housewives.
Yeah.
So she starts singing this song about ninjas. And she's singing it in front of, it's just called Woman Sings Horribly Inappropriate Song in Front of Asian Girl. That's how long. I mean, that's how much you have to explain. But I don't even know. These all look like rich people enjoying this. And the song just goes so wrong so quickly. But what is her name, Chris? It's just
Jennifer Murphy.
Now, if anyone knows why she's famous or whatever, let me know. But you've got to go from when the song starts, Chris.
Sat down to...
How could this happen?
Oh my God. There is an Asian woman front and center who is not pleased.
I don't understand why even the blonde people would be pleased. Why they should put up
She
with it.
obviously has her best friend is standing in the front row and she's loving the shit out of it.
The girl in the colorful dress.
Now, all you see is these middle-aged blonde women, but with elderly dudes.
Yeah.
Everything here looks like no one works.
It's like they were trophy wives, but trophy wives 10 to 15 years ago.
It's like they're trophy wives, but 10 to 15 years ago. And even saying Chinatown when you're talking about ninjas,
I know. There's so many references to both China and Japan.
And she starts off not doing a stereotypical Asian accent.
And then somehow it happens.
All right, her site is Jennifer Murphy Beds.
Is she from the Murphy Bed Fortune? I didn't
Check it out. See if you can find out what happens at her site, besides the stupid apology that she's forced to give.
I'm sure.
I feel worse for Jennifer Murphy, the stand-up comedian on Twitter who has everyone yelling at her, and she just keeps saying, "It's not me!"
Is it really true?
Yeah, look it up. If she comes up as if you Google Jennifer Murphy, you get, of course, she was former Miss Oregon in 2003. So the one who was the singer. And then there's poor Jennifer Murphy, stand-up comedian at Jen Murphy Comedy, who just people keep screaming at her.
Her career's over. She's losing bookings. In the meantime, Gail's not going to be able to stop singing the song.
I'm going to chop, 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 chow down, take him down to Chinatown. I gonna be ninja.
Dude, we could have been going viral right now.
So JenniferMurphyBeds.com, there's no links other than the apology.
Hey, what is the apology? Read it.
Right. Dear everyone, I did this song in front of a group of friends that was meant to be silly and self-deprecating.
Oh, wait, let's stop it. Unless you're from Japan or China.
What?
Yeah, it's not self. If self would have been fine.
And I posted it last April and received comments from friends and strangers that it was funny. It's obvious that I had bad judgment and didn't understand that my attempt at humor would be seen as insensitive or mean-spirited, and I have removed the video from my channels. I want to be a person who is positive and uplifting to others. Clearly, in this instance, this has not been the case. I have learned a valuable lesson. I sincerely apologize to everyone that has felt pain and offense because of me, and I ask their forgiveness. Sincerely, Jennifer Murphy.
And that's it for anything that at Jennifer Murphy Beds.
Yeah.
Did she mention at all the status of Chow and how he's doing now?
I mean, Chow's done for
I believe he was a made-up character.
And what does any of this have to do with the Murphy Bed Fortune?
And what is her purpose in life? The how and why? What?
She had another website, the video called YouTubeBlonde.com. It seems like she just does YouTube videos.
But she starts out singing about a Murphy bed.
No, she did?
Yeah, if you listen to the first,
right, she's like, back.
She's like, I'm on my Murphy bed. I swear to God.
All right, here's the beginning of this fucking song.
I've heard that as the Murphy of Murphy bed.
I just thought it was a type of bed. I didn't think it was a brand of bed.
The Murphy bed is the bed. It was a very famous New York bed because it fell out of the wall and came down, and then you could put it up and turn that bedroom into a rec room,
sure,
a living room.
I shut my Murphy bed.
You're right. All of us were lost during this part of the song.
What if Chow Beds is their competitor?
That would be fucking great. It's highly produced, though.
Yeah.
I have somebody who understands production. He's a film school graduate. Vito, what did you think of just the song itself?
Well, I really love the phone call that comes in during the song to really make that point go clear. My favorite line, personally, is about feeding ducks. She makes a great point with that line.
Yeah, she uses her nunchucks while feeding ducks. It was a little forced. It was a little shoehorned in there.
Sure, you got to. I mean, when you're talking about being a ninja, I almost a ninja.
It was clear she didn't want to work blue. I do not give a fuck.
I have to eat some cock because I'm just a fucking whore. What? Easy, Murph, easy.
I really want to see what was on JenniferMurphyBeds.com. That's really annoying. It's just this fucking apology.
Well, too bad. I mean, she had something finally go viral, but in a bad way.
I know.
She's oddly offended ninjas. You would not think that there was enough of them to get pissed off.
And they're secretive. They don't even really have a voice out there.
Yeah. But I do like, I mean, you saying that it was shoehorned in. There is Peking duck. You know what I mean? It kind of plays into the logic more than Murphy Bed does.
Right. She opens with, I closed my Murphy bed.
Give
a little
man
wink
head.
to the
They just all look like they're going to leave on a yacht to the Hamptons.
It's the worst crowd ever.
No, it's just terrible.
She didn't mean to offend anyone with her ninja song.
She just she was just something fun for family and friends.
The look on that chick's face in the front row, and she's just like, "This is great. This is the best song I've ever heard."
Yeah, go for it, Jennifer. You're my best friend.
Craig, isn't she amazing?
Where do you even find those kind of fucking things in today's world? Look at the background.
I think those are all Murphy beds.
They have to be.
I think they are.
No, really?
I swear to God, I think she's standing in front of the Murphy bed display. Yeah.
So maybe she just works for Murphy Beds, and that's like Jennifer Murphy as a stage name.
I didn't know watching Netflix was an Asian stereotype also.
At that point, I think she just tried to make it something for the kids.
She wants to stay relevant.
Well, that's how she learned her kicks, from watching Netflix.
You're on this song quickly.
I am. Well, when it's that good,
Yeah.
Be a ninja soon. I wanna be ninja. I want to be ninja.
Her face.
Do chop,
Chop, chop, chow down. Take down to Chinatown.
So awful.
And she's right in the Asian girl's face.
every day. I practice every way.
She is so proud of this song.
Yeah.
All right. Carla Finch says that Jennifer Murphy was a former Apprentice star.
Oh.
Ties completely in with the GOP.
Perfect.
Kenneth says I shouldn't have waked and baked. This song is freaking me out. To me, the whole thing looks like it was filmed at Cipriani's on Fifth Avenue. You know what I mean? That thing that you walk into and you're like, wow, this is so 1962. And there's like elderly men. It's an expensive, great restaurant, but there's like an old guy in just like a captain's hat sitting next to you with a fucking dirty martini. The whole thing just feels insane. Johnny just actually even dumped out on us. He didn't even
Johnny.
He's like, I thought I called for a second.
He's like, I have to work, guys.
No, you listen to Jennifer Murphy's Bed's new song.
It's not a crabbing day for him. He's back to work.
All right. Dignan said Jennifer Murphy is great. It has nothing to do with any of this.
Jen Murphy comedy.
Yeah, we should. Actually, that would be a good story to get in touch with her and see what it's like to just share the name of an asshole, and then
I was
you're
mistaken
stuck with
for
it.
a racist.
Yeah. I want to be ninja.
Ninja moves real fast. I took down Chow at last. Oh, yes, I did. I took down Chow.
Oh my God.
Ninja. I want to be ninja. I got to
Chop, 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 chow down to Chinatown. All right, it is pretty good, though.
The song's great, except for it's offensive.
Yeah.
It
It's a
gets
shame.
stuck in your head like a good pop song. But it also makes me want to know everything there is to know about Jennifer Murphy. How did she start? What is she doing? Are those Murphy beds behind her?
I think it is because when she says it,
Look, she's putting a Murphy bed.
Those have to be Murphy beds.
Look, go to the beginning when she says, I fold up my Murphy bed. She pantomimes where that wall is. I think those are all Murphy beds behind
So
her.
this is a Murphy bed party of some
It's a Murphy bed commercial.
Listen, we got to do something to sell these Murphy beds. How do we
I can do another song.
Can it be offensive? No one's buying Murphy beds anymore. You look at this. Look how many we sold in 1934. During the Great Depression, everybody wanted a Murphy bed.
I do pretty good ninja impression.
Wait a minute, goddammit. What if we did a song that you wake up in a Murphy bed and then you say as many offensive things in 3 minutes as you can?
Now, here's the thing. I don't want to tell her how to do her job. It's a great song. But it seems like she missed an opportunity to say that she's a ninja hiding in the Murphy bed and pops out.
Better. But
It
you
just
had
seems
time.
like it's right there.
You had time.
Oh, that was all improv.
This is on top of her head.
So this is what I'm getting info now. She's a former Oregon beauty queen. She was on The Apprentice. There was a pink carpet launch party for her signature bed line. And anybody who buys one of these Murphy beds can have a Murphy bed party, which is 3 more friends, and they pull train on her.
That's a pretty good deal.
I want to
be ninja.
I'm gonna chop down, take chow down to Chinatown.
Unbelievable. Hey Jay, what's up, buddy?
Dude, I must have looked like a fucking crazy person. I was in line at Costco gas, and I was laughing so hard. Like, listening to you guys listen to that song, I looked over this person, like, just sees me sitting in the car by myself. But listening to that part, the part where she sings, like, the I want to be ninja part, it reminds me of, like, when I was a kid having to listen to my mom in the 90s listening to Cranberries, sing the zombie part. Zombie.
With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns.
And the ninjas.
Yeah. All right, thanks, dude. Peace.
Later.
Sorry for the embarrassment moment. Hey, Mark in Virginia. Mark calls from Virginia.
That's just offensive. I'm appalled. This is no more offensive than when Genesis did Illegal Alien, and they all survived that one.
Yeah, and remember, even in that Illegal Alien song, they actually put sombreros on.
Oh, Jesus.
It was so fucking stupid. But somebody's got to stop. I mean, I get that she's dumb. But somebody had along the line going, hey, guys, I mean, we got the Murphy bed fucking brand and locked in. Why do we want to fuck around and do this?
Yeah, I mean, why would you tie it into your company?
It's going to blow up on us.
I mean, up to this point, Murphy beds have had a great reputation.
Absolutely.
Space savers.
I mean, if you asked me to say one bad thing about a Murphy bed, I couldn't think of it. Now, first thing that comes to mind, racist.
Want to be
I always just feel like it takes away an extra closet that you would have had. Remember there was even things like years ago of kids getting caught in Murphy beds and stuff?
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. Sometimes they would go up if a little kid was on it, he couldn't push himself out. Now, of course, I'm sure.
They figured out
figured out the science.
The technology behind the Murphy bed.
Well, we haven't heard from this gentleman in forever. It's the Brooklyn Blowhard.
Hey, buddies.
Hey.
Bennington.
What are you
How
up to, man?
Still recovering, trying to get that Charles Atlas body here, working out and trying to get healthy, and then I'll come in and see you guys. And I heard good things about Chris Stanley. Congratulations, Chris. I'm really proud of you, buddy.
Thanks. 10 days, I'll be an NFL kicker. It's really, I feel good about it.
That's great, man. I've been hearing nothing but good things, and it's been a rough 6 months, Ronnie, as you know, and I just miss you guys, and it's been a while, but I just wanted to touch base and say hi. I speak to some of the peripheral friends of the show, and they keep me posted on what you guys are up to.
Are you home yet, or?
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in a couple of weeks, but with so much going on in the world, it's got to be nothing but great topics and discussions, and this Murphy bed thing is pretty funny. I mean, with the world is going to hell, and I'm cracking up over Murphy beds. And I actually had a Murphy bed at one point.
You did?
Yeah, and it kept on falling and just clocking people.
It would just fall in the middle of the day?
Like it wasn't secure. Yeah, people would be sitting there, and I'd say, hey, sit over there, and thing would come down. Yeah, it was my first apartment. It was an old building, one of those old railroad apartments.
Yeah.
And it was a Murphy bed in it, and I really didn't use it. I wanted the closet space, and but I just said fuck it. So I tried to keep it secure, but it kept on just coming loose, and it conked a couple of my friends. But
Murphy beds, if you go like back in the 50s or whatever, it was a very big thing in New York City. And then I think Mary Tyler Moore either had a Murphy bed or a fold-out couch. Now, the difference is a fold-out couch is never comfortable. A Murphy bet is an actual
big metal
bet.
bar in the middle.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You wake up and it's pretty hideous. And you know what's funny? In some of the old New York apartments, they got the bathtub right in the middle of like the area, the living area or the kitchen. They put the plumbing everywhere in those old apartments. Those ones that are like, I guess they call them pre-war.
Yeah.
And you get bathtub is in the middle of like the kitchen or And but the city still has a lot of old buildings, and I'm sure the rents are skyrocketing, even though the building is like shit. But people pay for it, and I just, like I said, I really miss listening to you guys. I don't have my Sirius XM radio here, which was a mistake.
Can't you get him on an app? Yeah. I thought you sent him a thing for an app, Chris.
Yeah, do you have the app?
No, I never got an app. No, I never did. I should get the app.
Well,
the Wi-Fi here is pretty shitty. That's the problem.
You can you could listen to it without even Wi-Fi, even with a regular internet connection on your phone. You can listen to it. I'll make sure he gets the app today in an account.
All right, he's gonna hook you up. All right, Blowhard.
Yeah, and I hope that you guys are healthy and doing well and having a good summer. No traveling this year, Ronnie B. Usually you're on the road.
Yeah, I did some traveling, and then we're going up to Montreal next week. Matter of fact, we've heard from a lot of people in Montreal that we're going to be meeting up with, so it's going to be great. If you want to hook up with us, go to the ibang.com, the ibang.com. All right, I got to go to break, Blowhard, but we'll make sure we get you that app, all right?
All right, buddy. I love you guys, and I miss you, and I hope to see you. I can't wait to come in there and see the lovely Gail.
All right, that'll be great. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys, be well.
We got a break right now. We'll be right back. This is Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. Look out. Here comes the Bennington Show.
So up on the iBang today, there's an article, The David Spade Index shows you the movies you love, but critics hate. So this is an index that I think Priceonomics put together that are the movies that audiences love, the actors who are in them, their favorite actors, and then the critics despise them, and vice versa.
So David Spade is somewhat of the Kevin Bacon of this game.
Exactly. David Spade is the ultimate. So that was their biggest finding, in which audiences go to see his movies, they respond to his movies, but critics across the board usually pan his movies.
Well, Joe Dirt is something that you will hear people quote, but I'm sure the critics killed that.
Right, exactly. And even Tommy Boy, which is, you would think, at the very least, somebody could watch that and go, it's a fun, good comedy. Critics were not having it.
We found that out later. I think it was Siskel and Ebert destroyed Tommy Boy. And, it's a blow. I mean, that movie's coming up on 25 years or older more. And that's one of the most quotable films.
Right.
You got a candy coated.
What's that? Shut up,
Are you
Richard.
meeting the Yankees? All right, so I did not even know that David Spade was overly beloved by audiences.
Right, but this is like the difference in which how well they respond to him versus how much the critics dislike them is a very vast difference. So I'm going to give you a name, and you tell me, do you think that this is audiences prefer, critics prefer, or critics and audiences agree?
All right.
Okay. So let's start with Adam Sandler.
He's all audience.
Audience.
I would have thought more so than David Spade. Like this thing would have been called the Adam Sandler.
I would have thought the same thing. Adam Sandler looks like he's kind of in their second place position, but even so, vastly far from how far David Spade is preferred by audiences.
Because even in some of those movies, I think Sandler produces the David Spades.
Right.
Because he's had them in Grown Ups. And I thought maybe that he produced Joe Dirt, but I might be wrong. Or his company produced it, but I might be wrong. But to me, I always put those as like running buddies, you know?
Right.
All right.
Okay. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Wow. Because I think audiences have always liked him, but critics have probably liked him more.
I'm saying both.
This is agree.
Yeah.
So audiences and critics
agree.
Okay. This is critics prefer him.
That's me.
Versus their audience response. Okay. Vin Diesel.
Audience.
That's an easy one. Okay.
And yet he's very, very big. I mean, he's a huge movie star, and I never even think of him that way. That's how much I avoid Vin Diesel.
Denzel Washington.
I'm going to say the critics and audiences pretty much agree, although the last several years, the films haven't been critically liked as much, and audiences still show up. I'm going to now say that audiences prefer him.
It's audiences that prefer Denzel.
I'm going to go critics.
It is audiences slightly prefer. So I have a feeling that's due to the last couple years.
Yeah, because I think he started his career certainly an actor and has kind of become more of a movie star.
Matt Damon.
Ooh. I'm going to go nuts here and say critics.
Both. I think critics and audiences love him.
I mean, we're asking for a 0 to get to that because close seems like where we were. But go ahead, Vito.
I'm going to say audience because of the action movies.
This is audiences and critics agree.
All right.
So he's exactly at the thing.
Right down the middle. Audiences and critics pretty much across the board agree on whether they like his film or dislike his film.
You know why? He does one for him, one for them.
Yep.
One for him, one for them. One for him, one for them. One for him, one for them. All right, that got crazy fast. I mean, we should have built the way.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
Audiences.
Critics.
What?
I feel like it's critics.
I'm going to go agree.
It's critics.
What?
Yeah.
Slightly prefer.
What movie has he done that's critically beloved?
It doesn't give
Pick a Destiny.
Thank you.
I think the Kung Fu Panda movies do well for kids' movies, too.
That could be part of why it's slightly...
But I would have thought that was audience.
Yeah, but critics do love those kind of movies.
Critics aren't critics anymore.
Yes. All right. Alan Rickman.
Oh.
Audiences.
Both.
Critics.
Audiences prefer Alan Rickman. Bradley Cooper.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to go slightly audiences.
Critics.
Is there a neither?
It is.
That's mean.
It is.
Seriously, that's fucking fat shaming, dude.
He's fat shaming a lot,
Yes.
which is weird.
Yes.
Bradley Cooper is way farther audience than I would have ever
Thank you.
suspected.
Yeah.
He's deep into the audience.
First of all,
prefer.
do you understand how few good movies he's done compared to how much women love this guy? He's followed around by Paps now.
It's also because he dates a lot of famous women too.
Yes.
Like constantly.
That's what interests women. Women are interested in a guy who dates famous women. That's why they've had very little interest in Pete Rose over the years.
Tom Cruise.
Everybody was Tom Cruise fighting. This is hard. I don't even want to go first.
Both. He's loved by everyone.
I'm going to say audiences.
Audiences.
It's both.
Thank you.
It is an agreed. Audiences and critics both agree.
Can't get enough of old Cruisy.
Is that right? Then how many fucking Oscars has he been up for? 1, 2 over the years? I think he's a pure movie star.
Clint Eastwood.
Does this count directing as well? Because I would have said he was an audience guy early on, but then became critically beloved. I may even pick critics on Clint Eastwood.
It's both. He gets it all.
I'm going to go hard on critics.
It is critics. Critics prefer his work.
But if you were there in the 60s and 70s, he was box office.
Yes,
you know?
that's why
he
it's kind of a strange one.
were neck and neck, where the critics hated them, and then the audiences loved them.
Right. Because at one time, it was kind of seen as fluff and all that kind of stuff that he was doing.
Well, when you're in a 3-hour movie and you have 8 lines, the critics are going to be a little rough on you.
All right. Charlize Theron.
Oh.
Why do you say "oh" like that?
I'm going to say critics.
Creep. Just creep.
I'm not a creep.
I'm going to go audiences.
Critics.
Audiences.
Wow.
It.
Thank you. First of all, whoever came up with this game, I love it.
It's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci. The Tooch.
The The tooch for your cooch. She's also doing some good voiceover work right now, if you pay attention to car commercials. I'm going to say critics love Stanley Tucci.
Both.
I'm going to go both because the Hunger Games averages out.
But the thing is, he doesn't really star in some of these.
Audiences prefer.
Surprising to me.
Really shocked me. I thought
let me say this.
was going to be a critic's pick.
Name me any audience who says, honey, get dressed, we're going to a Stanley Tucci film. I mean,
the new Tucci's out.
Anytime that there's a Stanley Tucci film, it's an independent, which means there's no audience for whatsoever.
Okay, let's go to Michael Caine.
Oh, Michael Caine is my name, and I'll work
on the Danville train.
I'm going to say audiences.
Critics.
Agree.
They agree. Michael Caine is as loved by audiences as he is by critics.
She was only 16 years old.
The voice breaks.
Those movies are so fucking great. You know what? I feel like I could make an American version of that. What is it called? The Trip or something?
Yeah.
And I know one of the guys has to be Jay Moore to do the American version of a guy who goes around, he's eating food and doing impressions. I mean, that's literally what it's like to spend any time. And I don't know who the second person would be.
Who could even be at that level?
Charlie Manson? I mean, entertainment-wise...
I mean, that will be fun.
You got to go big. All right, give us the next one.
Jack Black.
Wait, didn't we do Jack Black?
Did we?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Black.
That's why I said it very slowly.
Critics.
I felt like, I'm definitely critics this time.
I'm switching up to audiences. I don't know why. I feel it this time.
That's how you
Did
get
you notice like how slowly I said it?
Yeah, but I thought I was having a stroke.
I should have wrote. I'm not going down by a list.
Yeah.
I'm picking them at random. So that was my problem. Kate Winslet. Have I done that?
Kate Winslet, you haven't done. I'm going to say, critics.
Critics, darling.
Critics.
Agree. As loved by audiences.
Okay, it's annoying. I get it wrong.
Let's go with the Swayze.
Patrick?
Yes.
Audience.
You know what? It's both since he passed away.
I think doesn't keep it.
Our critics aren't reviewing old movies like that.
What do you got?
It is far to audience.
Of course.
Now, what is your own personal David Spade index? Like, who do you think is the actor that you like the most that you know that critics don't like?
It's a tough one. It's a very difficult one. Chris, do you have one?
James Woods, is he not liked by critics?
I don't know if he's paid attention to that much anymore,
Yeah.
but I would agree that I do like a James Woods movie.
Like if he's in a movie, I'm watching it.
But that means you're watching television, or James Woods is in a small part. They haven't given James Woods a movie for himself in a long time. Now, critics are going to also hate him because he's a real right-wing muckraker, and they tend to take that out.
Sure.
Even though they should just go by acting. And I'm going to agree with Chris. Even though there's not a huge amount of range with James Woods, I can watch him every
He's very
fucking
enjoyable
day.
to watch.
The shit.
Yeah.
He's the man.
I can think of a movie that I feel that way, that even the people in the movie have turned back and said, we made a terrible movie, and I still enjoy it.
What's that?
It's a little movie, a comedy called Green Hornet. And I just think that it's funny and pure and reminds me of a 1960s comic book movie. The director has come out and said that he despises it.
Really?
Have you ever watched it?
Yeah, watch it. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I am Bloodtowski. I just think it's fucking really funny.
It's a great fucking cast. Yeah.
All those people are sorry they did the movie.
They shouldn't be. They're being forced to say that.
So it's a Seth Rogen movie.
I think for me, is Pauly Shore. I could watch Pauly Shore movies any day of the week. I find him to be very entertaining.
Well, let me say this.
And
the second week, you're pretty much watching the same movies you watched the first. Because they put a cold stop to his career.
And it's a shame.
I think it was after Jury Duty. Or in the
Great film.
I talked to him about that. And I said, if Jury Duty would have come out like first or second, you would have kept making movies.
Yeah.
But for some reason, after Jury Duty, they just said enough. And his heart is kind of broken about it. He says he runs into people from crews who are like, we really miss you, Paulie. We had so much fun doing this. He does small movies now, but he had a period of time where he did big, fun Adam Sandler type. He had an
exactly.
Adam Sandler type career, but it stopped.
And if I were to pick a movie, I know that the MacGruber movie got really panned, and I thought that it was really fun. It was just a big, over-the-top, like summer-type comedy that I don't understand why some do well and some don't.
Yeah, a lot of times it has to do with marketing or just what's happening at that moment, but it was one that they all turned on. And obviously, he's a very funny man. He's got a big hit TV show now.
Vito.
Let's go to Vito. There should be a lot for you, because everything you like we think stinks. What is it, the Mets?
Well, so if the actor that I'll see movies of that aren't like crazy critically approved, there's two. We got Adam Sandler and we got The Rock. Those are the movies I'll go see.
The Rock is kind of beloved right now. What's funny about The Rock, his movies do well and his TV show doesn't. This could be called the Melissa McCarthy effect, where that show was never highly ranked, and her movies would become hits.
Yeah.
The Rock is the same way.
I was in...
Ballers is unwatchable.
I hate it.
I was in the movie theater watching, there was the trailer for the movie that he has coming out with Kevin Hart, where he's in he's in a fat suit, and people were howling, screaming at the trailer of him in a fat suit.
And that movie did well, right, with him and Kevin Hart?
Yeah, it didn't even get too panned. On Rotten Tomatoes, it had like a 67%.
Rotten Tomatoes is more like just letting people in the audience do it now, though.
By the way, when I saw Ghostbusters this weekend, no trailers beforehand.
Whoa!
Straight into movie.
You know why, maybe? Did you see it in 3D? That's probably why. The 2D is like, you didn't see it the correct way. Is because you didn't want to wear the glasses?
Yeah, I didn't think that I needed it.
They hurt your head because your head's too big like me?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have a normal size head.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I saw it. Non-3D, in 2D.
Why is everybody doing the 2D?
I like the 2D.
I can't do it, but the glasses, they kill me by the end of the movie.
He has a big head.
I stretch out the glasses. They're pinching my temples.
Vito, did you see 4D?
Yeah, it was great. I was getting water thrown at me. I was on an adventure.
Did you really see it that way?
You have to see movies in 4D now. And
I don't even know where they play.
Regal Theaters on Union Square. And then you get to see the Regal 20 before and see how TV shows and movies are made.
I don't even know what he's talking about, seriously.
The 20.
Oh, the 20?
I love the Regal 20.
But I don't go to 4D.
I also saw it in a movie theater that was the hottest movie theater I've ever been to. Because you normally, on a summer day, you go into a movie theater and then you freeze because you're dressed for summer. It was so hot. I was sweating through the whole thing. Still enjoying myself, by the way.
Well, we got to stop this for a moment because we have a comedian dropping by. Is he here yet?
No, Spencer Berger is grabbing him at this moment.
Okay. So let's not start. And I saw you ready to read stuff, Chris. But he probably watches more movies than all of us put together.
Yes, he goes to the movies.
Yeah, and said that he had spent $2,000 on movie tickets. Is he here?
He's in the lobby. Spencer Berger is coming and going to bring him down.
I just saw Spencer going the other way.
I don't know why he's going that way.
Now he's opening our curtains instead of going to get the person.
I think me and Spencer are wearing the same shirt today.
And he's also traveling very slowly.
He's usually
he's come back again.
Okay.
Anyway, Joe List is going to be here in a couple of moments. So maybe we could even keep this going with Joe List. But by the way, while we were telling a story, I thought of a person, and now it's out of my mind.
Oh, no.
It's that stroke. It's that damn stroke.
What about Jim Carrey? I know that later he had some critical acclaim with dramatic roles, but his early stuff was always panned.
And they don't really let him make movies anymore. When's the last time you had a big Jim Carrey movie?
Yeah, when was his last big comedy?
Or dramedy, even.
Liar, Liar?
That had to be like 2000. 2000. 99 or something.
Bruce Almighty did well, and then didn't Dumb and Dumber.
What is it?
Bruce Almighty did well, and
But how long ago was that? That was
like
big 10 years ago.
But I
yes,
I think Dumb and Dumber 2 did well in theaters, didn't it?
Not really. Not as well as it needed to have a Dumb and Dumber 3.
How was the critical acclaim?
They were rough. They were rough on the brothers. I saw it. I was laughing. But I fell for the first one, too.
I love that first one.
Yeah. I'm hoping Luke Skywalker can start making some movies. That's been rough for him since 79.
Yeah, I mean, he really just gets the one part.
He gets
over
the
and
last
over.
scene.
And
that's what he says. He's like, it's me in a beard.
Did he even speak at the end? I can't remember.
He just
I don't think he said a word. They're like, we're going to do another take. It's not really in character for you.
One and done. What are you trying to say, Luke?
I just thought the character would make a noise of some kind.
Is there something wrong with the Force?
It's the way, yes. And plus, I also have him as gassy.
What's he eating on an island?
Joe List is here. He came to us. Bring him in. Joe List plays big theme song. That late into it, but yes.
I normally got it pretty early.
That's Michelle singing along. Joe List is here. Came in from a whole different direction, which was exciting.
I got a tour of the studio.
What?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got us that tour.
Well, we were looking for you. We didn't expect to see you coming in from the West.
You know, we did a tour. I got a tour of the sports areas.
Oh,
and
that's great.
Yeah, everything. And
you probably hadn't seen that before.
No,
that's Spencer Berger, who was our new summer intern.
Yeah, he was nice. On the way in, I mean, we only had a short walk, but he told me he hated New England. I mean, I've known this guy 80 seconds. Everyone I know and love is New England. It's in my bones.
Spencer, why do you hate New England?
Very hurtful, this guy.
Because apparently Tom Brady's not a nice man. I don't really like Tom Brady.
But see, here's the thing, Spencer. These are our guests. We want to pump them up about their home state and where they live.
Okay.
Every time.
You know what I mean? I want them to...
I take it back.
Yeah, that's
I appreciate that.
Yes.
And he's not even free from California, that son of a gun.
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful, wonderful man. A lot of charity, big penis, the whole thing.
The only thing is, I guess he deflates balls. That's the only problem people have with him.
Yeah, it's real silly. It's a real silly thing. And this isn't even as a Patriots fan. This is a sports fan, as an American fan, human.
He has a reputation of a man with a very large penis.
Is that right? I just threw that out there just now.
I thought,
yeah.
I thought,
see, this is how rumors get spread.
Yeah, well, that just generally...
Because, Chris, your favorite actor also has the same thing, James Woods.
Yeah, I've heard that.
James
Really?
Yeah.
Now, he's supposed to be a huge asshole, they say.
Yeah, but
James Woods?
Yeah. But
He
they
has
might
a huge
say...
asshole as well?
Yes.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a giant
Great.
asshole.
He can fit so big he can fit his penis into
Perfect.
it.
Then it actually makes sense.
But he's a big Republican, so sometimes I think that if you're a Republican in Hollywood, they spread it. They go, hey, that guy's an asshole.
I said that's what happens to him critically, because he's a very electric actor.
Yeah.
I always enjoy his films, but critically. We were just discussing this before you came in. By the way, we said this before. Everybody's talking about this album of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Saying it's even hotter than your half hour.
Oh, good. Well, I hope so. It's a much more natural setting than a TV thing.
You're having a party tomorrow night?
Yeah, a little party / show. I'd love for if you guys could come. It's at the Stand, and it's going to be a humdinger.
I know that the boys are doing something tomorrow night. Isn't that the bonfire?
The bonfire,
tomorrow?
at the Village
That's
Underground.
at 8.
That's at 8?
Yeah.
So, yes, it should be easy enough to come by and see you after.
Yeah, it's on the way home.
Now, what is this? Is free drinks and food for...
No, none of that.
Just the bar.
Plenty of drinks for sale.
Yeah.
At nice Gramercy Manhattan prices. And,
okay. But look who you're going to be performing with. Robert Kelly, Ari Shaffir, Mark Norman.
Yeah, and as well as Leonard Oots and my friend Jason Cantor. I booked the show myself. So.
Now, aren't you worried here, the big night to celebrate you, one of these guys could have a hotter set? That's what's concerned me.
Well, I'm hosting, so I'm going to be, I'm like the coach, you know.
Okay,
I'm bringing out these, I'm Bill Belichick to another great New Englander, and they're my team. And I'm going to give out some of the albums, and I guess, I don't know how it works, to be honest. I've never done this.
I've never heard of this before, but I love the idea of it.
Yeah, people have done it. Sam Morrill did a big one, and I was on that. And
somebody told me Sam is going to be on the America Has Talent this week.
Oh, is that right? I hope so. I know he shot some things.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I hope he goes on and wins the whole thing because he has talent. It could end up being called Sam Has Talent.
Yeah.
By the time this is over. All right, explain because you're a big movie guy.
I love movies.
Are you a buff?
I like to think I'm a buff, but I don't see everything. I see the critically acclaimed movie. I don't like a lot of this. I don't like the bullshit summer block, like Independence Day 2 and Ghostbusters. I don't need any of that business.
You don't like that. Now, your kind of movie is disappearing. You missed it.
Yes.
The 90s was the time to be the kind of movie fan.
Well, I was alive in the 90s.
But did you go out to those films?
I went out to a lot of those films, but as a kid.
But yes, as a child. So you thought, oh, this is the way movies are going to be. And yet they ended up not being that way. They went back to like everything's the 80s now.
Yeah, you get a few a year. Have you seen Sing Street? I thought that was tremendous.
Haven't seen it.
I think that you would enjoy it as a music lover and a movie lover.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I thought that was terrific. And there's some movie. I think I'm a movie. I don't want to use the C word, but I would use that word after movie to describe myself. I'm very, cunty about it.
Okay, so you're a movie cunt.
Yes, I'm a movie cunt.
You still go to a lot of movies, even though you say you're a hard buy.
I do. I saw BFG, and people hated that movie, but I thought it was terrific. I enjoyed it. So who knows?
Now these guys, I loved what Spielberg did early in his career. Certainly. I think he got bullied into make mature movies. You know what I mean? Because the kind of movies that he started making after that, I feel that a lot of people could have made. I don't know who else could have, to this day, made E.T., Jaws, and my personal favorite, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
Now, the first two films I didn't care for at all. Close Encounters, the first kind, terrible. He was like, was that anything? And then it wasn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's very rare that the third movie is the...
But I thought that those things were pretty magical. Then I heard that about BFG, and then people said, no, it's all CGI, so I didn't go.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but I see a lot of movies when I'm on the road and I have time to kill. I don't
That's
really
smart.
party anymore. I don't really make love to other women other than my fiance.
I like that you say don't really.
Yeah.
As if... Really?
Yeah, I don't at all, 0%.
Okay.
I just wanted to sound like I might have a hint of cool,
It sounded like you might dry hump. Like that was
yeah. No, I like sexually harass them real aggressively and stuff. They just won't let me.
do anything.
But, so I have nothing else to do, really. And I'll read, but how can you do that for more than 15, 20 minutes,
Yes.
It's a lot. That's a lot of reading. So I went and saw BFG. I thought it was fun. It was like it's for kids, but it's fun. He's jumping around. It's CGI, but they use a real actor. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I never know either. We had that one guy who did the stop action, right? Was his name?
The guy did Gollum.
The Gollum guy. And then we just ended up talking to him about Ian Dory, because he played Ian Dory in a movie, and never got around the Gollum the entire time.
Andy Serkis.
Thank you. My parents took me to an Andy circus when I was a kid. It was very dull.
Yeah.
No elephants, just an Andy circus.
My parents took me to a Gary Gallman show.
Is that right?
I fucked up the whatever the hell the thing was called.
Gollum.
Gollum. Oh, if I could have said Gollum, but I screwed it up and I just said Gallman, which is like almost his name.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, jeez. It's too early in the morning for me is the problem here.
Hold on. We'll recut this. We'll redo it right now. We'll jump back in.
Can we do that?
My parents took me to an Andy circus.
That reminds me of the time they took me to a Gary Gulman show.
Oh, Joe List. Is that on the new album?
Damn
Because
it.
that is precious.
No, but my album is or was number one on iTunes and Amazon.
Yeah!
And thank you. With a lot of help from my friends here and in the comedy game. And I happen to be, this is very, I'm just going to go ahead and brag here. I happen to be opening for my friend and yours, Louis C.K., on his arena tour, and he introduced me off mic by saying this guy has the number one album. So Louis C.K. So this guy has the number one album. It was quite a thrill.
Somebody contacted me. They saw you in the forum, at the forum.
Yeah.
And they said, you destroyed.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm like, look how quick Joe List's career is taking off. You're at the forum in L.A., destroying before Louis C.K.
I mean, if I may, unhumble brag here, I don't think a lot of the people came to see me in particular.
But you have to walk out in that giant venue.
Yes.
And grab them.
That's more difficult.
That's really, really tough. It's
Yeah.
easier if they know you and like you.
Right.
You know?
Because then they want to have a good time. They're like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, I came here for this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, I was very excited. Well, those shows, Rachel Feinstein was going first, which really helped quite a bit. She had to warm them up, and she did a tremendous job. So, yeah, I got to go second at the forum, but it was pretty amazing. I mean, I grew up in New England, and I love New England.
Right.
And so
Spencer was telling me.
Yeah, there's a lot of Celtics history there. I mean, you got the Kurt Rambis clothesline right there, right where I'm performing. So it's very exciting. And the Bowels, they have everyone who's performed there. You know, the Stones have been there 50 times, and Springsteen, and
the Doors played the forum. This is how old this whole thing is. Now you're part of that.
Yeah.
Now you're all part of that legacy. How is that kind of a crowd? Because it's what is it? 10,000, 12,000?
The first night was 12,800, and the second night was 9,300.
Now that's not what comedy was set up for, to walk out in front of 12,000 people.
Right.
But what is it like when you get a laugh and there's 12,000 people?
That was pretty great. We did a full week, and that was by far the best one. And it's funny because earlier I was talking to Louis about it, and he was like, that's a great room. And I thought it was funny that he was referring to the LA Forum as a room. But then when you get there, it does actually, you think arena, but it's one level. There's no balcony.
Yeah.
And the Forum was actually built as a music venue. They just played sport. It's not a sports venue where they do music. It's vice versa. So it's actually pretty, it felt intimate and smaller. And then we did like the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, which is a sports arena where you're doing, and that was actually a little tougher. And I think they just weren't as hot of a crowd or whatever.
Were they happy to see Louis though? Or were they just like, I'm here for Louis, I'm here for Louis?
They were good. Well, Louis does the first few shows. Todd Glass was doing the introduction. He does a great job. He does it like it's organic and put your phone away, and he's amazing with that. And then Louis, the second 3 or 4 shows, he was doing it on his own from the house mic or God mic, and they know it's him, and he's hilarious. He does a voice. And he's getting laughs, and then he's like, these guys are my friends. I think that helps to be like,
absolutely,
this is my person that I brought.
Right. Don't think by booing them because you're waiting to see me. Because I grew up seeing everything at the Spectrum in Philly, and even with bands, the audiences would boo for the first 2 bands till you get to the headliner. And this is the thing. The bands would walk off eventually because you were throwing shit and all. But the headliners still went on the same time. So you went there at 8 o'clock at night, booed, and by 8:30 you had to sit and wait till 11 before the headliner came out.
Right.
What would be weird is sometimes the bands that were on that bill would be back headlining in like a few months, and people would be glad to see them and cheer for them. It was
now
so frustrating.
I'm ready for you.
It was so frustrating.
I love the story in No Direction Home, a great film by Martin Scorsese, the best of all the filmmakers. But he made that movie, and there's a story where Like a Rolling Stone was number 1, and then everyone in England just booed the whole Electric set, and then they played Like a Rolling Stone, the crowd sang along, and then they went right back to booing.
Because that was the fashion of the day.
Yeah, they had
one supposed to boo.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't get booed.
Can you imagine booing anyone for plugging in their instrument? No!
Traitor.
Unplug it. Pull it out. But you know what? It was like that a little bit, but no one actually booed, but everybody, like for some reason in the 80s, Eddie Van Halen just starts playing the synthesizer all the time. You're like, why is he doing this? He's a fucking guitar master.
Well, Philadelphia famous for booing Santa Claus. And I think throwing snowballs at him, if I'm not mistaken.
As my uncle has pointed out many times, he was the worst Santa Claus you've ever seen. He was kind of skinny. and the suit looked like shit. They
So he deserved it.
Yeah. And now there is an entire generation of people who don't want to be lumped in with that. Philadelphia sees itself as being more progressive. But I remember at a time where it was, happily, the most regressive city in America. Which is always funny when people see, like, we're famous for booing. They really were. And they love the idea of booing. They booed, it was handicapped kids at an Easter egg hunt. And the kids who couldn't find the eggs were booed as losers.
Have you ever booed in an audience? Has there ever been a circumstance?
I've hissed.
I don't know if I've ever booed.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I've went into anything that deserved booing.
I think that the only experience I would have with that would be seeing professional wrestling live when you're supposed to boo.
And that's cheering.
Right. It's the same as cheering. But I don't think I've ever booed because I thought I was going to like something and then disliked something.
Well, what if, like, someone says, like, wants you to boo, like, these 1%ers think they run the country.
Right.
But it's the people that do run the
country. Politics is like that.
Not the 1%.
Did you ever hear this story? I think I told this story on this show before. I just tell other people's stories a lot on this show. But there was I feel like I definitely did because I wanted to impress you with my rock and roll knowledge. But the 78 No Nukes tour, it was like Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Browne, Tom Petty, and Springsteen. And it was Springsteen's birthday, and it was the height of Springsteen mania. And Jackson Browne walks up to Tom Petty before, and he goes, "Hey, when you're out there, if you think they're booing, don't get thrown. They're just chanting Bruce." And Tom Petty goes, "Well, what's the difference?" Which is great.
I can't wait till you tell that story again.
Yeah, that'll be a third or fourth time. But it's my best story.
And it's a great one. But Mr. Petty, who, by the way, now here's how big that they each have their own radio station here on Sirius. You could listen to Tom Petty 24 hours a day. You can listen to Bruce 24 hours a day.
I love it.
Foo Fighters, no station yet. Pearl Jam, station.
Yeah.
I feel like Foo Fighters is probably ready for a station.
They deserve?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could get a station.
Because I was just going through their catalog, just like radio hits, radio play hits.
Yeah.
They've made a tremendous amount of songs that became popular.
Yeah. I got a tour of the studio. I find some studios we can put them in. A couple empty ones.
You learned a lot more this time coming in, though?
I did. I know a lot. Yeah. I know New England stinks, and the Bonfire studio is gone. It must have been a bonfire. Hello, folks. I better really crank it up. I might just go into my act at some point. I feel like I'm really just feeding it here.
I think you're doing very, very well.
Oh, my God. Can I tell a story that's not a Tom Petty story?
Yes.
That I think is funny.
Yeah.
I have, I'm 34 years old, and I have wisdom teeth coming in, which is a little late for most people, I think. But I didn't see a dentist for 20 years, so they probably would have taken them out at that point if I had gone.
Yeah.
But I had a wisdom tooth, and I was in Maine on vacation, so I was like, I got to go to the dentist because I'm freaking out. My mouth is bleeding, and I have teeth ripping through. And Maine they're known for their dentistry, as you know.
And lobstering.
Yeah. I said this to somebody in like a group, and I think Maine is so unknown that people think that I might be. They're like, well, maybe they're known for dentistry. I'm like, I don't know. But it is the only one syllable state. Anyways. So I went to the dentist, and my dentist there, and it's not my dentist, it's just a dentist, and he had a stutter, which is, I don't want to make fun of handicapped folks.
Too late.
Or whatever. But you don't really want a doctor or dentist with a stutter, because he would be like, what you need is... And it wasn't even like a stutter. It was just like he had bad reception or something. So I was like guessing. I was like, surgery? Suicide? A filling? What? And then finally he was like, you need to have surgery. And then he's like, but I don't, he's like, usually I do my own extractions. He's like, but you have a very small mouth. I have a type 2 mouth from eating too much sugar. But it's teeny. And he's like, you got to get someone else to go in there because he's like, there's a nerve back there, and if you hit it wrong, your tongue could go numb for life. He said that to me, and then he paused, and he goes, and since you're like a comedian, you need. And I was weird because I'm like, well, Even if I was a barber, I still like communicating and licking things occasionally. Like if I wasn't a comic, I'd be like, nip it, get rid of it. I don't need my tongue. And then this is true. He goes, I was like, well, can I wait? Because I got a bunch of work. Can I wait a few weeks? And he goes, well, you can wait. He goes, but basically, you have an ISIS sleeper cell in your mouth, and it could declare jihad at any moment. And it's like a good analogy, I guess, but it felt tremendously inappropriate in the doctor's
I like
office.
the ease that he was able to get that sentence out, though.
Yeah, it was really weird to compare my third molars to a terrorist ring.
Yeah, you know that they're actually running people over with trucks now.
Yeah, they're murdering tons of people. And I was like, well, can we carpet bomb my teeth? And I thought it'd be fun. Now I'm just basically blatantly doing a bit, but I thought it'd be fun if he was like, well, you got what's known as a Nazi mouth here. We could fix it up. It's going to Holocaust you a lot of money. I'm like, all right, take it easy.
Is that on the album?
No, that's not on the album. Yeah. This just happened like a few days ago, but perhaps the next album, if it goes as well as it did here. But the problem is I feel like this is a group you can do ISIS and...
It is.
You know, you can mention Nazi, but on stage, sometimes you say ISIS or Nazi, they clam up a little bit.
It's like we came here to forget about ISIS and
right.
Nazis.
Right. Well, hopefully they've forgotten about Nazis by now. I mean,
well, neo-Nazis, a neo-Nazi just the other day killed 3 people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not as big of a news story, I guess.
Yeah, but it's hard to break through in the news these days. There's so much horrific stuff. Donald Trump's VP really didn't get the front page anywhere, and that would have normally been a big story. But
there's just too much insanity.
I had the #1 album in America. Not one. Nobody picked it up. Not even. I mean, nobody. Splitsider didn't even do anything. I mean, this is
now in music. #1 album, Blink-182. They came back. They had #1.
You guys were #1 at the same time.
2 #1. They call it #1 buddies.
Oh, that's really good. I should talk. They were here last. I came here last week to record some stuff for the takeover.
You were doing a takeover?
Yeah, and I was going to poke my head down, but then sometimes if you poke your head in, it makes it seem like I'm like, let me in also.
You could I'm going to take the hinges off this door for Joe List. At no point, if you see me in here with anyone, come in. Okay? Right. I could be in here and I could have Trump. You could just come in and go, hey, I want to plug a couple things. I'll say, Trump, please. Give us 5 minutes. We'll
I appreciate
get back
that.
to you being the law and order president.
I appreciate that. I don't think he would make a good president personally.
You don't?
No. I just don't think, I think he's a bit silly and perhaps narcissistic. And I don't think he has a lot of experience.
I think
presidential type.
And you know, I have a world of respect for you.
Thank you.
But I'm now only going to refer to you as a libtard, someone who
I hope you're okay with that.
Retarded in a liberal sense.
Yeah. I'm
so Trump's not getting your vote. You're a Hillary guy.
Well, last election I voted for Jill Stein. Mm-hmm. She's in the Green Party. She came in 4th.
Yeah,
but that's because I live in New York, so I felt like it was. If I lived in New Hampshire, I would have voted for.
Who's voting?
Barry.
Who's running with the Green Party now?
Jill Stein again.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no quit in this girl.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, she's good.
No quit whatsoever.
Yeah, she's
a lot of buzz though about her this time.
But I gave money to Obama's campaign. I love Barack Obama. I think he's terrific. They can tweet at me all they want. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful man.
Well, he's had a couple of good. He's gotten very good at saying we just had a national disaster.
Yeah.
Bush came back for that thing and then started crazy dancing. But it was nice to see them both together.
That
united.
Was maybe one of the most uncomfortable moments. Was Bush just dancing like a child at essentially a funeral.
Right.
I mean, it was so uncomfortable, and he's holding his wife's hand and Michelle Obama's hand, and the two of them just don't know what to do with him. Like, they are so uncomfortable with what he's doing.
This is pretty much dancing on your grave. Is there sound to this? Is there a reason he was moving this way?
Oh, my God. Like, that's like a toddler, like when a toddler hears a song.
He looks like he's fake marching, like in place.
Yeah, he is.
It's silly. You can tell Michelle's like embarrassed.
She's very uncomfortable, and his wife just shot him a look like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
That's funny.
We're at a
He just
funeral.
likes music.
I have love for George Bush, though. I hated him when he was president. I think he did some terrible, awful things, but he just seems so sweet and lovable. He's like, hey, and then you're like, ah. Also, it's such a hard job. I have sympathy for everybody that's ever done it. I'm like, yeah, you're great. What are you doing?
I think when he left and said, I'm not going to be part of the, I'm not going to get involved in people's businesses, and it is like, like Clinton, and then he just started painting. I think it's one of the most remarkable stories of someone who had that position.
Yeah.
That you just, try to express the artistic side of you. And you can see he's in a I don't give a fuck mode.
Yeah. He's childlike wonderment right now.
Yeah.
But you had a theory about him, Gail, that...
Yes, I had read this theory. Do you remember when he choked on the pretzel?
Yeah.
And he was hospitalized for it?
I remember when Josh Brolin did.
There was a theory, a conspiracy, that he had actually had a stroke.
Huh.
And that they covered it up by saying that he choked on a pretzel, and that basically for the rest of his presidency, he was being kind of propped up. And that's why there was like an increase of like just bizarre things that he would say that were just totally off, because he was not quite the same guy he was.
But look at his paintings, how kind of childlike that they are. They're kind of great.
One goes east, the other goes west. So what?
But look how he paints the shadow under the dog.
It's actually pretty adorable.
Yeah, it's really...
Like, oh, you did good, George.
And somebody had hacked into his sister's phone, so we got to see a bunch of them. But one was just like him painting his feet while he laid in the bathtub. And it's like there's something incredibly interesting about that.
That's his right there.
Yeah. These are all his paintings. And he doesn't put them out anywhere, but if he put them, I would go in a heartbeat to see these.
There's something very unique about it.
And I don't know if he painted before he was the president. I mean, anyone who's ever attempted to paint could see that what he's doing is, although you're not, comparing him with Chuck Close, it's better than what most people can paint,
Oh, yeah, I couldn't paint that.
I couldn't paint that.
One time in high school, my girlfriend painted my toenails. And then the next day, I sprained my ankle and had to go to the hospital with emerald green toenails. And my dad, I think, wanted to just beat me. He was like, what is this nonsense? It was really, it was a bummer.
If that's the story you told your dad, I'm going to back you up, that your girlfriend did it.
Yeah. She did, and I sprained my ankle on graduation day. It was very symbolic. I graduated high school and then went to my party, and I was like, I'm a free man, life begins now.
Yeah.
And Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones was on, and I started to do a Mick Jagger, and it popped, and I spent the night in the hospital, and it was a good, it was like a lesson in life of like, nah, you're not going to college, you're going to be a comedian? All right, well, here you go, you fucking idiot.
Brown Sugar.
Yeah, and it was really the party. People had not even arrived yet. People were showing up with gifts, and I was like, ah! And my nails were painted, and they were like, well, this guy's just going to fail. But that was 17 years ago. Look at me now.
Yeah, you got the #1 album in the country.
I probably don't now. I don't know how you look it up. I think it was probably just a Friday afternoon, and I'm sure Jim Gaffigan's bullshit is surpassing me again. It might still be there. If everyone goes out and buys it right now, if you're listening, go buy. It's $10 for God's sakes.
That's all. $10.
And Joe's new album, Are You Mad at Me, is available now on iTunes and Amazon. And the Joe List album release party is happening tomorrow night at 10 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. Go to standnyc.com for tickets. Joe's hosting and performing Robert Kelly, Ari Shaffir, and Mark Norman, and on Twitter at Joe List Comedy.
I hope you don't sprain your ankle at that party.
Yeah, I'm going to not.
I know you get excited.
No impressions. By the way, tickets are only $5 for that show, by the way. $5. And Leonard Oots is on. You got to mention the black guy. We're going to look terrible here, for God's sakes.
We don't want anybody mad at you.
Yeah, that's why I'm very terrified. It's a very sensitive time.
Does that bother you if someone's mad at you? If you would have found out anyone is mad at you?
Some. I mean, back then, for sure. Not as much now. Now, Ron, what people think of me is none of my business.
I like that very much.
So that helps. But yeah, I don't want people to be mad at me, certainly.
I know, and I wouldn't even tell you who, but there's 3 people I know that are really, really mad at you right now.
God.
Yeah.
What,
one that
here?
You care about
you mad
very
at me?
much.
No, we're good.
Oh, great. Thank you.
That's nice, Peter. Way to go with the bit.
It's amazing you have two Chris Stanleys in one. I mean, it's amazing.
We're different people.
Sorry.
You know, Chris Stanley has a tryout as a place kicker coming up in 10 days, Chris?
10 days, July 28th.
For which team?
The New York Giants.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you place kick?
Yeah, I used to all the time when I was in high school.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
I went out with him. He can hit about 50-yarders.
You're kidding.
No. And I'm going to say the consistency isn't there. You were hitting about 3 or 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
You want to hit 6, even 7.
But I hadn't kicked in like 18 years, though.
I understand. But I'm saying you're also trying out. You can't go there and say, I haven't kicked for 18 years, so this is what I can do.
How
They
come
don't
you
care
didn't-
about backstory.
How come you didn't try this 4 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 18 years ago?
Because I finally just started wanting to really just chase my dream.
Oh, wow.
He got sober.
Did you know? Did you really?
Yeah, 5
Oh,
months.
Great for you. Good for you.
But he
Great.
did it on his own. He's white knuckling it.
Oh, jeez. Well, I thought you were going to... anyway, well, then fuck you, I guess. I'm only kidding, of course. What was I going to say? Did you know I had a deer for a short film called The Kicker, because I thought of all these sporting things, and no offense to you personally,
Yeah.
I thought of all the things in sports, that's the thing I would have the best chance at making it. I thought if I could just dedicate like every minute of my life for like 6 months, I feel like I might be able to fucking boot a field goal real far, because I've kicked a 25-yard field goal with no training.
Yeah. Well, this is basically what he's doing. You can make a documentary.
I should shoot you, and then I'll be the movie with a camera, not
with a bullet.
Please.
That would be terrible. Although it might even make it an even more interesting movie.
Yeah, it'd be like a Fox Catcher, Ace Ventura thing happening.
He set out to shoot a movie, ended up shooting a man. Come see it now. It's the
Yes.
Joe List story.
But someone would have to shoot me shooting him, and then I get jealous and then snap and kick. This is a
I
goddamn
love this.
movie.
Yeah, this is a movie.
This is really good.
I'm glad it's recorded in case someone tries to make it, and we have this.
Well, we'll
So-
all go to court anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Your Honor, I know for a fact how this came up.
By the way, I like your. Is it a special occasion? You have a jacket on.
Well, I have a jacket today because I have to go to a blood test to prove whether or not I'm a father of this child. And
this child?
No.
Got
no,
it.
that one I don't even want to know. Someone, because I've already spent all the money there.
I'm hoping.
What? M or not?
M.
Well, you know who the other person would be, right?
Yeah.
Do you really?
No, I don't.
Okay, I won't bring it up. I'll just say this. He wrote Catcher in the Rye.
What?
That could be your actual father.
Oh, George Orwell. So cool.
What do you think gets brought up more in politics, 1984 or Brave New World? It seems like every time someone brings up a book about what's happening now, it's only those two books. You know?
It depends on the week. I think if so, like during the NSA stuff, like when Snowden came out, everything was just 1984. It was 1984 all the time.
I wish that it was Animal Farm that came up more.
Well, the pigs are now sitting at the table. But it seems like those are the only two books. Sometimes Atlas Shrugged. They'll bring that up.
Sure.
You know,
For the libertarians.
The libertarians bring it up.
The Bible. They love the Bible.
The Bible, it seems like the Bible is less than this year than any other. Because now you almost look like a crazy jihad person if you bring up any religion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because people be like, I have so much faith, I'll blow myself up. You'll be like, I have faith too, but a different kind of faith. You're like, it's still faith, though, dude.
I have a jihad in my mouth, according to a stuttering dentist.
Did you get it taken out?
No, not yet. I keep having things come up. I got doing more Louis dates, so I had to put it off because of that. And I find I'm going to Montreal Comedy Festival, which is a great.
We're going to be up there too. We'll see you up there.
But when are you guys there? I'm there early.
Oh no, we're there later in the week.
I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You there Thursday?
We're coming in Thursday.
Maybe I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, we'll all get together and we'll have a big night together. Now, what are you doing?
I'm doing a Kevin Hart show.
Oh, will you pitch him something, or is that the thing?
I hope not. I think I'm just doing 8 minutes of stand-up. I have nothing to pitch him other than this kicker documentary idea.
Do me a favor,
Do it.
because I know he's doing Pitch Me, and then he'll give people shows if he likes the show. Pitch him the kicker thing.
That's not bad.
You're shooting a movie about a man and ended up shooting the man.
Yeah, it's a minimum 6-7 seasons, I think.
Easy 6-7 out of that. Brian, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Good. What can we do for you?
Hey, Joe mentioned that having your wisdom teeth pulled, your tongue can go numb. That's no bullshit. Like, I had my wisdom teeth out 22 years ago, and the right half of my tongue is still numb.
I can't understand the thing that you're saying, sir. It's something I heard. Num-nums.
I'm so bummed.
Yeah, I said that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh.
This guy, this is terrifying. What is he doing here? I got horrible anxiety.
He might as well have a shoe in his mouth. It doesn't work as a tongue anymore.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that Joe didn't have that procedure done, because otherwise, instead of calling him Joe Lisp, we could call him Joe Lisp.
Oh, or Joe Lisp.
I mean, I'm going to have the procedure done. And did he sue? Did you sue, sir?
No, it's all part of that waiver BS that, you sign that whole,
you sign your tongue.
You can't sign the liability of something going wrong like that.
Don't sign that.
Maybe he tried to sue, but the judge thought he was saying Jew, and just like, I'm throwing this out.
What can you...
Yeah, so just don't go to Dr. Sorensen out in Wisconsin.
You probably shouldn't say that.
Wisconsin?
Well,
yeah.
That's
Because now
where
he can sue you. But here's the thing, he can put cigarettes out on his tongue. So
there's a good party tricks.
We need to break here, right, Chris? Yeah. During the commercial break, we're going to take you around, share a couple more studios. We'll be right back with Joe Lisp, who has the #1 album in the country. His release party is tomorrow night, 10 p.m. We're all going to try to stop by. Robert Kelly, Ari Shaffir, Mark Norman, all on hand, and
Leonard Oates and Jason Cantor. We're leaving out the a Jew and a black guy here. I mean, we're terrible.
Well, we do kind of an Aryan broadcast.
Yeah, that's kind of...
At Joe Lisp Comedy. We will be right back. Bennington.
So much. I feel so welcome.
Yeah. Why are you angry about that? Why can't you just comfortably say it?
Joe's new album, Are You Mad at Me, is available now on iTunes and Amazon, and the Joe Lisp album release party is happening tomorrow night at 10 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. Go to standnyc.com for tickets. Performing that night, Robert Kelly, Ari Shaffir, Mark Norman, Leonard Oates, and Jason Cantor.
Thank you. Very diverse.
That's great. But if you had to vote somebody off, who would it be first?
Ooh, probably Ari.
That's the same. That's one everybody can agree with, so it's safe.
Yeah, I mean,
he got backdoored.
By the way, have you seen Robert Kelly's TV show this year? He's slaying it.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's literally one of the comedians who I think is an exceptional actor.
Yeah, I would say better actor than comedian. I would say better anything than comedian, Robert Kelly. I mean, dad, podcast host.
Well, he thinks he does very well as a dad. Because he told me I'm a great dad. Which is always it's always funny to me because that's not your decision to make.
Have you ever said that about yourself?
No.
Here's the thing, dude. Bobby is a classic. He cannot just start a sentence. He has to give a what do you call it? Prelogue? What do you call that?
Pre-thing.
Prejudice. What's the thing at the beginning of a book? Preface. He has to preface. He has to do a. Dude, here's the thing. Or, dude, let me tell you something. Like this, he never just says, I'm going to go to the park today. He's going to go, dude, let me tell you something. This is the thing about it, all right? Listen up. Everyone good? I'm going to the park today. He's never just said a thing.
Well, when he said to me that he's a great dad, I always think that's funny because it's not you. It's like saying I'm a great lover. It's up to the other person to say that.
Yes.
And you can't say I'm a great dad and lover.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's really bad.
So that's how it is in their family.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet up with Bobby later, and I'm doing his show today. Big day.
We'll give him our best, will you? We think the world of him.
We're going to meet up, and we're not going to see Chris there.
Well, this got said to us. It said, and really it was to you, Gail. It said, I'm an idiot talking to someone about Tom Waits, and I kept saying John Waite. I can't talk to them ever again. Now, have you ever done that when you go extensively about another person, but you've confused the names?
Yeah, this like 2 days ago, I went to the Carole King Broadway show, and then as we were leaving, it was packed. And I was really surprised. I was talking to my girlfriend, and then it's so packed that everyone can hear you. And I was like, I'm really surprised they didn't do You're So Vain. I just thought, I figured that was coming for sure. And then you can see everyone be like, fucking idiot. And that was embarrassing. But you could, because You Got a Friend is James Taylor and Carole King. So they get in there together.
It was very incestuous at that time, the singer-songwriter thing.
So that was definitely one of those moments.
But I've done this with Carole King. I've called her Carole Kane.
Me too. I said I want to go see the Carole Kane, and they just talk about, Annie Hall and what was the other, the Princess Bride?
Yeah, Princess Bride, and then also Taxi.
Oh, yeah.
She was Latka's girlfriend on Taxi.
Right.
But that is horrifying when it happens like that.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. I hated the other day when I said I called Mike Bonfiglio, director of 30 for 30, and also my longtime very good friend, Mike Birbiglia. And it was like in the middle of plugging, like everybody on Thursday, make sure you watch Mike Birbiglia's 30 for 30 that he directed.
Birbiglia loves the Mets. That makes sense.
Now, Chris Stanley, you make fuck-ups like this all the time.
Constantly. The other day I was talking about the UFC fighter John Jones, but I kept calling him Jim Jones, the cult leader. It's Jim Jones. I think he really has a shot in this fight. The guy who killed all those people.
So nobody should really be, thrown off by it then. I did a thing, too. At CBS, they said, we want you to go to CBS and radio. And they said, you'll be using Charles Osgood's studio, his personal studio. I'm like, well, that's great. This is the guy that that is on CBS Sunday morning. Every Sunday, he announces, it's like a magazine show. So I go there, and I don't know whether you've ever been to CBS. It's on the west side. It's this enormous block-long, high, old building that you can't find your ways around. It's like being in a Coen Brothers movie. It's so strange. So I get to the place, and I go, I'm here. I'm supposed to be using Charles Osgood's studio. But instead of that, I say Charles Kuralt's studio. Charles Kuralt had started the show. He was the guy on the road who had passed away. And all these people who I know from the show came around to try to tell me he's died. You can't have his studio. He died. And I'm like, oh my God, when? And they're like, 12 years ago. And I go, then I saying something completely wrong. I can't get there because I'm kind of weirded out because I know all you people from TV. For one thing, I watch your show religiously, and now you're trying to settle me down that I'm trying to get into a ghost studio. I just need someone else to talk for me right now. But it was one of the greatest, weirdest moments of my life. And all of those people come from NPR before they do TV, so they have the same delivery. The man that you're looking for started the program and died many years ago. There's no possible way.
Yeah, there's only 2 NPR voices, and they're just the male and the female voice.
Right.
Like the male has that tone.
Yeah.
And then the female has a little bit of that gravel, and that's why Adnan's cell phone records were looked at. I was just like, oh boy, like I want to continue with this story, but I can't.
Yes. I like the way they'll do this. We're going to have Joe Liston. He's known for his writing, his comedy, and bird watching. We'll find out more when we get back. They've always put a weird thing on the third beat.
I was able to sit down with Joe to talk about his bird watching.
That's the voice that leads to murder, though, right? That there's some kind of murder that took place.
I murdered a kicker.
That's the Sarah Koenig voice.
Hopefully.
Very excited about this.
Could you make a documentary? Do you think you have the wherewithal to stay with one subject for 8 months and then to take that film footage down to an hour and a half?
I feel like I could, but I also don't want to be the guy that says, like, the guy that's on a radio show going, I could do stand-up.
Right.
And everyone's going, what a fucking asshole. I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, I'll be that guy. Yeah, why not? I can make a documentary. Come on.
I would like to have made a documentary, and I would have loved to have written a book and come in and talk about it, but I don't want to actually do it.
I feel that way with everything in life. I want to be one of those fight guys that can, like, grab your wrist and snap it. But I don't want to do any training. I just want to take a pill that allows me to beat up a guy that looks at my girlfriend weird.
Soon we'll have virtual reality where we can pretend in that world.
Yeah.
That all that is happening.
Yeah, I want to be one of those guys. I talk about this in my act. I want to be one of those guys that goes, "You got the wrong guy. You got the wrong guy, dude." But I feel like if I did, the guy would be like, "Yeah," and I'd be like, "No, I'm sorry. I was hoping you wouldn't follow up on that."
You could be upfront and say, "You've got the right guy to start bullying."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've basically run into a cuck.
Yeah.
If you started touching her, I couldn't do a lot about it.
Right. Yeah, they know that about me. That's because of the glasses and the teeth, I think.
Do you remember the last fight that you were in? Were you in a fight as a child?
Yes, I was in one fight. It was in 5th grade with Jeff Meehan, who was my best friend. And we started talking, and I was like, who would win in a fight? Which, as an adult, I have the wisdom to know if you have that conversation,
right?
You both want to fight. A fight is going to happen.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I would just be like, well, I wonder who would win in a fight, because you didn't know. And then the whole school was like, Jeff, Joe, yeah, you fuck. And then it went crazy. And before I knew it, I was swept up, and I had to fight. And I was like, all right, I'll just kick him in the balls. I know getting kicked in the balls hurts. I didn't know that wasn't a manly thing to do. So I went to kick him in the balls, and my shoe flew off, and he caught it. And then he walked over and handed it back to me because we were friends.
Sure.
So I put my shoe back on, and then he punched me in the head like a hook. And he had an older brother. So people with older brothers, they had been taught to fight, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
I was just, taught to play soccer or whatever. So he punched me in the temple, and it hurt so bad that I was like, I quit. I was like, that's horrible. It really sucked. Yeah, and it was a little 5th grade hand, but at the time I had a 5th grade head, so it hurt. And I cried, and then we were friends again.
That is something that they don't show you in movies. Like, Bruce Willis would be spending most of the movie going, everything hurts. My nose, my jaw.
Right.
Even my back. I bet you should get somebody to look at it.
Right.
How do you know if this is fractured?
And this cut's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Bleeding out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that you should be stitching me up.
Right.
But it does hurt so much to be punched.
Yeah, I like Midnight Run is one of my favorite movies of all time, and every single punch results in a knockout.
Yes.
100%. And it makes that sound, and they just go to sleep, and then they wake up, and that would be actually a delightful way to get punched if you were just like, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, where'd he go?
But this is what you don't understand. When you're knocked out, it's because your brain has been shaken, and you should immediately go and have testing done, because this could be serious. Like, being knocked out is not a fun thing at all. So in the movies, sometimes they'll be like, well, Joe List will be like, I want to go with you to that fight and, be in that gunfight. And I don't want him to get hurt. So I'll punch him in the head and knock him out. And that way he doesn't have to go be in the gun. But for all I know, I've caused brain damage.
Right.
Have you seen that picture that's in the thing today about the UFC fighter?
No.
Okay. It's his X-ray. His name is like Cosmos or something.
Cyborg Santos.
Okay, Cyborg Santos. Just do that. There's an Instagram with his picture, and look at that.
Oh my God.
That's his skull, and that's the dent in his head. And this is why I don't want to be a fan of this crazy fucking sport.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, that's not how your head's supposed to look.
No.
That's different than what a head's supposed to look like.
You could see where his skull is just caving in, probably touching brain. That's my assumption.
Yeah, it's real bad for you, and I don't like it.
Now, my friend Jim Norton owns 7% of UFC, so I just worry about the long-term things of this sport.
7 sounds high.
7%?
That's
It's
high.
a $4 billion industry, so he's doing well for himself.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He's got an expensive new apartment, too. So he needs that money. He needs that UFC money. But is that the most horrible thing you've ever seen in your life?
Oh, my God. I just keep touching myself on the forehead, just being like, no.
I'm so glad you said on the forehead.
I just keep touching myself to this image. I mean, is anyone else aroused?
Yeah. It makes me grateful that I haven't had my head smashed in. But the worst thing I've ever seen is probably the trailer for that new Ghostbusters film. Hello, folks. That was one of those ones that bombed so hard I had to throw in my own reaction.
Paul Feig, who made the thing, is like a buddy of ours.
Oh, Jesus.
He invited me to Ghostbusters movie. I went up there in New England.
I'm going to go cave my head in.
No. And, you didn't see the film. We all did.
Oh, God.
Chris was up to be in it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He loved it. What about you, Gail?
It was so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot
my
of fun.
God.
Really fun.
It's very fun.
Geez. Yeah, when a person describes a movie or anything as fun, it means means it stinks. Like if you walk off stage, people are like this. I like you said it was really fun. They left off the E because it wasn't funny. So you didn't say good. You said fun. You probably had fun. You had some popcorn. Maybe you guys.
But even though you may be totally right, if Paul Feig was here and started running down Joe List, we're like, come on, man, that's our buddy. You know,
that's true. I should have picked a movie that was like someone that's dead that stinks. You know what I mean? That you know, I can't think of a movie that stinks worse than that one, but.
No, I get it. You hate women. It makes sense.
I do hate women. That's true. This is what's annoying about this movie. It's like they got like if you support women, like, well, what about Diary of a Teenage Girl? Last year was the best movie that I thought all year, and I don't know one woman that's seen it other than my date who I dragged to go see it, and it was written and directed by a woman and starred a woman, and it was about women's liberation.
I'm not even familiar with the film.
Nobody is because I'm a hero and you guys stink.
Yeah, but the way it even sounds, Diary of a Teenage Girl is like the worst thing to draw me in.
Well, it's a pornography.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm in.
No, I'm sure the Ghostbusters is great. I should have said I should have said Independence Day. That's made by men.
Well, that's our really good friend Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, Jesus.
You didn't know that?
Oh, God. I hate myself.
But I noticed that you're doing this big birthday show tonight.
It's not birthday. It's an album release, and it's tomorrow.
But it's without any women. No women.
Well, my girlfriend, who I think is wonderful, she was working, and then I asked another woman. The problem is, a lot of times women, they're doing too well to do a show like my measly little show.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Women are doing too well in the industry.
Really?
To do my show, I asked a bunch, and they said, I'm busy, I got this, I'm shooting that.
And no Asians.
Well, Asians, you know, they're Asians?
Let me guess. They're not funny. Is that it, show?
I think they were too nervous because I asked them and they said they were yellow. Oh boy. Well,
edgy.
Phones are lighting up, folks.
You are really going to work with Robert Kelly later on today.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, let's end this.
What? On that?
Yes.
Oh,
we got to get out now.
Well,
today I donated some money to LGBT.
Oh, did you?
The show in Greensboro, North Carolina that Louis did. I didn't give my money, but he gave $180,000 to them. And
did he really?
I was on the show. I kept my check for sure, but
that's how much he cares about what's happening out there, huh?
I think he's a very generous man.
Well, $180,000 goes to show you're very generous.
Yeah, and he also paid for a car ride home for me, and it was quite lovely.
So that's an extra $20.
Yeah,
right?
No, it was a nice car. It was a motorcycle. I'm kidding. I love Asians and women and Ghostbusters.
You're
and
fine. You're fine.
I hate
Independence Day.
So
You're
I voted for Jill Stein. What would you vote for? I'm voting for Jill Stein and Hillary at the same time.
You're fighting too hard with this.
Oh my God! And Elizabeth Warren, my God, I'd spank her in the ass. You know what I mean? Wait, that's not how you defend.
That isn't how you defend. We do have to wrap this up, though, but you're the best.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.
I mean,
really
despite some of the controversial things you said today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see past your sexism.
Oh, jeez.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure I will.
Joe's new album, Are You Mad At Me?, is available now on iTunes and Amazon, and the Joe List album release party is happening tomorrow night at 10 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. Performing that night, Robert Kelly, Ari Shaffir, Mark Norman, Leonard Oots, and Jason Cantor. Go to thestandnyc.com for tickets.
That's it for us. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!